Welcome to the Film Threat Livecast. I am Chris Gore on a Wednesday. It's our special edition, the Hollywood on the Rocks edition of the Film Threat Livecast. I'm happy that you're spending your Wednesday with us. Alan Ng will be joining me momentarily today on the show. And it might be a typical show where we don't get to everything, but here's what's on the docket. We're going to talk about the movie 5/25/77, which is directed by Patrick Reed Johnson and produced by the late, great Gary Kurtz. Cannot wait to talk to you about it. Alan has some thoughts on Tar. He saw Tar, and now we're going to talk about it. Kantara, we'll be discussing the Indian film Kantara, plus Next Exit, which is a low-budget indie sci-fi movie directed by Molly Elfman. That's right, Danny Elfman's daughter. Additionally, Quantum Leap, we're getting an update from Alan on Quantum Leap, and an indie comedy directed by Brandon Dermer, a movie called I'm Totally Fine. Brandon will be joining us on the Hollywood on the Rocks later in the show. He'll be joining us. So let's get things started. Grab yourself a drink. If we're talking about movies, you're going to be drinking on this show. And by drinking, I'm having water with a little lemon. I like a little lemon water. Delicious. Let's get going, folks. It's Hollywood on the Rocks. Time to kick things off.
Holy fucking shit, these reviews are delicious.
Alan Ng is here.
Here we go.
The editor-in-chief of filmthreat.com. Alan, how's it going today, man?
Oh, good. We're heading into award season, and it's not looking good this year.
I had the same conversation with my friend Eric Weber, and not that we're not friends. We are friends and we work together, but the award season is very weird. It kind of seems like the normally we'd be getting these great films, and I'm seeing Fabelmans next week. I'll be seeing that. I'm seeing Wakanda Forever on Monday. So
yes, I will be there.
I'll see you there. We will talk about it on our Wednesday show. We'll do a whole Wakanda Forever thing on Wednesday. We'll probably talk about it again. We'll do a non-spoiler on Wednesday. We'll do a spoiler on a week from Friday once everyone else has had an opportunity to see it. But this award season is weak. It's week. I just have.
Well, we're in November, meaning
right.
There's 2 months left for films to get out, and I think Avatar is the only big movie coming out after Wakanda Forever, and and all the dramas are very. I'm wondering if we're in the pandemic slump where a lot of films, like post-pandemic movies are coming out next year versus right now. With
right.
that whole year when nothing really was being produced. I feel like that's where we're at right now.
Or movies were movies that were made during the pandemic because Hollywood is an essential business. They're running thin. They're running thin. So I don't know. I think we've got two strong contenders for Best Actress. You've got Danielle Deadwyler for Till, and you've got Cate Blanchett for Tar. But other than that, I don't know. It's slim pickings.
Yeah, we got Austin Butler for Elvis.
Right. That to me is a lock on a nomination. But it's weird. This is the season where we'd be seeing these kind of more socially relevant films, more dramas, and I don't know, man. It seems like it's going to be thin, and it's already kind of shaping up to like. I think that Cate Blanchett will get nominated. I don't know that she'll win.
Well, who's going? I mean, it's like who's going up against her?
So, no. Let's talk about it. But before you do that, one of the things that I like to remind people of, there's a lot of, slim pickings at the box office, right? Worst box office in like 25 years. The box office in terms of theater receipts is down by half, but there's always something to check out, and that's where filmthreat.com comes in. So I'm just sharing right now. This is on the front page of Film Threat now. There's a movie before that, but one of the things you can do is you can kind of scroll through like what movies. Evil. Okay, I am dying to read the review. Evil Head Dead by Dong.
Yeah, this is a short film, by the way. It's a short horror film about a demon-possessed dildo. Am I allowed to say that?
Wait. What's the movie about again, Alan? Could you repeat that?
Yeah, it's a demon-possessed dildo.
Well, it got a 7 out of 10 on Film Threat. I think
I mean, it's okay.
Rating.
It's okay when it comes to just being a silly horror film.
Now, the short films, are you linking to the short film? Because I mean, I could probably Google it and find it.
Only if they ask. You know,
right.
That one, it links. There's a link there to the filmmaker.
What are some
Ricky the Rhino there? How can we not love?
I have to. What's so great is because we have about 30 writers that are kind of in rotation, you know, and I like to look. We've got Brahmastra Part 1 Shiva review up on the site right now, and it's written by what's the writer's name of this review?
I want to pronounce it Abhishek Sharma.
Abhishek Sharma. So
he is in India. So I've asked him, maybe, feel free to cover some of the films that are coming out. Like Brahmastra, I believe, is coming out on Hulu this weekend.
Oh, excellent. So we talked about getting a writer from India to actually write about Indian films. Yeah. I'm glad that's finally happened. We do have writers kind of all over the world, but that's great that this finally. I just want to remind people that, like, when you miss Alan and I, or you want to get some different kind of flavor, just go to filmthreat.com and check out what's on. I'm scrolling through what's on our front page now, which I always love to do, just to see, like, well, what are we talking about here? Get some animated movies.
Yeah.
What is this? Canary?
Yeah, these are a lot of Oscar qualifying shorts are coming out, and so they're coming our way.
What's weird is I think this was a couple years ago, like our site was getting this crazy traffic during the Oscars, but it was because we were the only outlet that reviewed the Oscar nominated shorts and animated shorts. We had reviews of everything, and I didn't know of any other website that had as complete of a list. We should probably compile those into a list. This looks,
by the way, this one here is a beautiful animated short, and it won the Student Academy Award, which means it's qualified for the big Oscar as well.
Oh, nice.
So this is I've never seen stop motion animation it's done that well.
Laika and Nemo. All right, that looks
Laika and Nemo.
I'm just saying, like, just come to the website, check out, read reviews. It'll help you discover. Reviews is kind of our thing, right?
Yeah.
You'll discover these movies and more. I check it every day. All right. Now, Alan, you review maybe. Well, wait. You know what I should do? I'm going to bring up Did you write the review for Tar?
Yes, I did.
I think you did. Let me find it. Here's your Tar review. Let me bring it back up, because you messaged me and you had a disagreement with me.
I don't think I messaged you. I think I put on Discord and you saw it. So
yes, I was like, hey, well, what are you talking about? Now I was talking around. I know there's one issue in the film I kind of talked around because I didn't want to ruin it.
Mm-hmm.
But now the movie's out, and can I say I saw it a second time in a theater with my lovely girlfriend, and we were the only people in the theater. Literally, when I went and saw Ticket to Paradise, packed theater like that. This is weird. We went to see Tar. We were literally the only people in the theater.
Yeah, I think there were 10 people. There were 10 people in my theater when I saw it. I saw it last Friday.
All right. Now, you had some issues with my review. What were those issues?
Well, the issue, I think, let's just state, both you and I agree this is a great movie. This is, I think Cate Blanchett gives the performance of a lifetime. It's kind of a masterclass for me in acting. And so Cate Blanchett is the reason to see this movie. But, the feeling I got when I heard your review was that this was kind of a indictment on cancel culture, And when I watched it, I'm going, no, this is the story of a predator. And so I feel like we've seen the same movie. Maybe you were dancing around that.
No. Okay. There is an amazing scene, like
Absolutely.
in the middle of the movie, where she takes down one of her students who is writing music, and he says something to the effect of, well, as a BIPOC, non-binary,
pangendered.
Pangendered, as a BIPOC pangendered, and he was kind of like picking apart the cis white male composers, like
which was Bach. He was referring to Bach.
We're talking about Bach, and she rips him a new asshole. But what the movie does is it's a great scene. And when I saw the movie with a packed audience, people laughed and it got a big reaction.
Yeah.
But the movie has it both ways. So that scene exists in the film where she does this. But what ends up happening is someone captures this on video, kind of edits it to make her look even worse.
Yeah.
And then it goes on social media, which contributes to her getting canceled.
Yeah, but the thing is that what you just mentioned doesn't happen until far into the end of the movie.
Right.
So there's everything that happens in between, which is, to me, basically she's a villain in this movie. No doubt about it. And she's not a Weinstein villain, but I would say she's more along the line of what Kevin Spacey has been alleged to have done,
right?
In terms of grooming, and using, it's the weird thing about artists and their passion about art is somehow that seems to turn them into kind of predators at that point. And so that's the story. It's just her power as a conductor, her passion as an artist, and how she uses it to basically control and manipulate people around her. And I will say this: the best thing I could say about this movie, aside from Cate Blanchett's performance, is the script. There's a lot of talking in this movie, and it's a lot of philosophizing about music, conducting, the interpretation of music from the composer, and how a conductor, all that stuff. It's not boring at all. I mean, I thought I'd be bored to death from all this talking, but it's so well written that it's engaging, and it makes a lot of sense. I'll say one thing about that scene you were talking about, where she eviscerates the woke student.
Right.
That's a one shot, and I believe that shot goes not only goes 15 minutes, but the camera and her moves everywhere within that lecture hall, and it is an amazingly constructed scene. And the next best thing about this movie is the sound design. This is a movie you have to see in a movie theater. I hate to say it, and with good sound. The use of sound as kind of a Poe's telltale heart just works brilliantly in terms of how things are placed, how sounds are placed. There's a point where there's a honking car. And I swear to God that I thought it was a car in the parking lot whose alarm kept going off, until you realize, no, this is in the background of the movie, and it plays in a way that is never drawn attention to, but you notice it, and it builds the tension of the scene. So this movie is so well constructed that I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I will say that scene you're talking about with the woke student, for a second I had to go, is this just one take? Is this one shot?
It's one shot.
It's one shot, and it goes on like for a long time. And then it kind of moves positions. She moves sort of, she's on the stage, she comes off the stage, she walks into it's not boring. It's not just a single shot. The camera moves, she moves around, it follows her. The whole thing is one take, and it's amazing. Now, yes, I may have it's just interesting to see this in a Hollywood movie. What Hollywood movie rips on woke culture? I name one.
Yeah. Well, this is the two-edged sword. She rips on woke culture, but at the same time, she's villainized throughout the rest of the film.
Yeah,
I mean,
she is. I mean, yes, she's the protagonist, and she does horrible things, manipulative. I don't want to get into too many of the specifics, but yeah, I'm disappointed. This is also not a wide release movie. It's not a movie you would see in wide release, I think. I know they did sort of an early release and then expanded to more screens, but I'm just surprised that scene was even in a movie in a way that, like, because I'm in the audience saying, oh, I kind of agree with every single thing that she just said. And the guy's having sort of a debate with her about, because you see the student like have this music that he's composed and it's shit. It's awful. It's like this super experimental, like, where the hell is it going? She rips apart his composition and then rips apart his philosophy and his obsession with identity politics, to the point where she says to him, like, you got to get off social media, like, great. It's just, so I love it because, look, yes, it's a very long scene and an important scene in the movie because, the scene, what happens, those events that occur during that scene come back to haunt her, right? And it contributes to other things that she's involved in. So it's sort of the culmination of all of her evil deeds come back to bite her. But if you're not paying attention to the very end of the film, you're going to be really confused to the thing that's at the very, it's not the climax of the movie per se. It's sort of this little button, but it's so bizarre to have that, like, that's the button, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so
we got actually a lot of comments about this.
let's go to the comments then. I want to hear what everyone else has to say. First, let's start with Pirate Queen, who is in a car right now driving. Pirate Queen, thank you for, I do, what's so funny? I do the same thing. So I'll put on like a YouTube show that I know is long. I just listen to YouTube in my car. So Pirate Queen, thank you for that. Safe travels to you. And Pirate Queen goes on for $4.99. Thank you for the super chat, the support of the channel, and the support members. By the way, members, this week we gave away, I think last week we gave away some codes to Stargirl. We also gave away some codes to 4K versions of Poltergeist and The Lost Boys. And today, after today's show, this is only for members, we're giving away another code. So there's another code coming your way. Look for it in the members only tab. If you're a member, grab it first. Okay. Pirate Queen goes on to say, looking forward to seeing Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla this week. Any buzz about the Banshee of Inisherin? There is buzz about it. What I've heard is it's not woke at all. And I haven't seen it. Alan?
I'll be honest. I have a hard time understanding the Irish accent, and so I'm kind of putting this one off until I absolutely have to see it.
Well, look, I am going to see Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. It is one of those Fathom Events special screenings. This is I believe the 2002 version of the film, but I never saw it in a theater, and I'm going to see it with a bunch of Godzilla fans, and we will talk about Godzilla. We will revisit Godzilla because tomorrow, November 3rd, is officially Godzilla Day. So I subscribe on YouTube to the Toho channel, and also on Instagram. I subscribe to the Toho Godzilla Instagram official. So yeah. But any buzz about it? I've just heard that it's not woke and that it's good. I have not heard people raving about it. So maybe you should see, since I'm seeing Godzilla, maybe you could see something else tomorrow, Alan. You could see tomorrow. Banshees.
Maybe. I have a family thing tomorrow night, so I'll see what I can do.
See what you can do. Okay, good. Great. Let's go to, I'm going to start with our super chats here. Sean Z, Comic-Con struct for $1.99, film threat for life. Alan is the best in the game. That's right. Everybody loves Alan. Everybody loves Alan.
Oh, you should read the comments on YouTube.
What do they say?
Oh, well, clearly they're here for you. And
are they or not? I don't know.
I think so. I mean, I'm under no illusion that that the success of this channel,
Alan,
leans more toward you than it does me.
Well, I'll say this: I could not do the show without you. I could not do the show. And
No,
I
I
know
definitely
that
could
some
do
people complain, like, Chris, you're so mean to Alan. You know that, like, I mean, part of it's kind of a shtick, right? Like, I mean, I do get genuinely frustrated with Alan sometimes, but not in a like. I don't really. I'm not mad. Whatever. But I feel like it's like, look, Mo. I think at the end of the day, Mo of the Three Stooges, he actually loved Larry and Curly. Ren, at the end of the day, I think he loved Stimpy. But one of us is, I would say that I'm probably the bigger loudmouth amongst the two of us. I definitely am long-winded, and you know, but you know, we're just goofing on each other and having fun.
And you know, and I've done improv for decades now, and I just yes and through life. It's gotten me far.
I will say this, that's part of why I think that like and I've seen you do improv at the National Comedy Theater in San Diego. Which you know what, I got a coupon for like a birthday thing, and I didn't use it. I could have saved $20 on tickets, whatever. But yeah, you should go see Alan there. Yeah, you just yes, and we're just having a conversation.
Yeah,
you know, we love Alan because he thanks us for following him. Oh my God, you're still doing it. I hate it.
I love the fact that you're putting more effort into it than I am.
Well, it annoys me every time I'm looking through my feed and it's just like 5 people, you know, thanks for following me. So thanks for following. It gets annoying. So I throw in a little like a meme or a GIF every once in a while just to like know that like this annoys me. Your behavior
with Elon taking over, we'll see how long my bot that does that will last.
Yeah, they're getting rid of the bots. We're here for you both, man. Love you both. You're a great team. Hail Film Threat. Well, thank you, Spaceman. Appreciate it. Let's start. We had another super chat here somewhere.
Just
on the Common Construct for $1.99 says, how are you doing, Chris? How's your week? Well, let me tell you this. I went a little too hard the last couple days, and I laid out. So Halloween night, I don't really dress up for Halloween much anymore. I'm pretty lazy when it comes to that. Maybe I'll do a cosplay at a convention that's a goof, but I don't really do it on Halloween. Why? Because everyone else is doing it. I don't necessarily go with the flow, but I laid out a bowl right outside my door with just like a thing of Snickers, sort of fun size Snickers. And I said, just take one. And I realized kids don't really trick or treat all that much anymore. They go to parties, they go to like events, but they're not like, so I came back and a few were gone. So I'm surprised that like, you know, someone actually took them. They're probably my neighbors, probably not actually kids. But so what I've been doing is I've been eating too much of these Snickers because they're just sitting there and it's a sin to waste food. And so what was I thinking? I've been eating I feel like I'm actually kind of sick from having too much candy, which is a feeling I haven't felt since I was a kid. So how am I doing? I got to stop eating candy. Luther Talbert says, hey, Chris and Alan, got my free copy of Lost Boys and Poltergeist. Hail Film Threat. Well, that's sort of one of the benefits of being a member. When we do giveaways, we give them to our members. So kind of a first come, first serve. Shucksy made it just in time. Mr. JTP RX Extra Filthy here. Mr. Luthor. Chris, I saw Barbarian over the weekend. I've got to say I was very disappointed. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I will say if you saw it, I hope you saw it in a theater. Because in a movie theater, that movie's awesome. So there you go. Rust in Peace says they should have an Oscar for the most ruined franchise. Maybe we can do that at our award show. Award this,
or at least the live stream. When I mean, it's getting to the point where I think they need to invite Will Smith to the next Oscars broadcast, and
he's banned for 5 years or something. Is it 5 years?
I think it's 10 years. But the thing is, this is gonna be a really horrible Academy Awards unless some movie comes out that's amazing. But I don't see it.
Fewer and fewer people are watching it. Just, I think as a category, I was talking about this on the Nerdrotic Nooner with Gary Beekler and X-Ray Girl. And I think that as a category, award shows are just less popular. They just seem like I believe that we are struggling through some of the hardest times, like since I've been alive in our country. Just the way things are so divided in the country. There are people going through tough times. Like, I don't want to see celebrities get awards and give lectury speeches. I just don't. Just like I don't, I was never really a fan of the sitcoms that had the canned fake laughter. I just as a kind of, I love comedy, right? But I really think that when The Office came out, the British version, then the American version became so popular, that kind of changed the game when it came to network comedy. You probably have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on the laugh track because I've seen it work, but that's for the traditional jokey type sitcom. I think The Office definitely moved it. I think to your first point, the only reason I watched the Golden Globes was because Ricky Gervais was hosting it, and that's kind of what the Oscar needs: someone who will poke fun at the industry and not get canceled for it.
Right. Foz says Chris's hair seems especially puffy today. This is going to be a good one. Patrick Lemire, watch them still not nominate Maverick for Best Picture. I think it'll get nominated. I think it will. Shucksy says, what do you mean we are in trouble with award season? I thought Don't Worry Darling is a surefire guarantee for award. Yes, I know you're joking, but yeah, it's Don't Worry Darling will get nominated in some categories. Probably cinematography is I'd say it's a lock for that.
Well, then again, there may be so few films that it will get nominated anyways.
That's true. Patrick Lemire says RRR is not India's candidate for Best Foreign Feature, but it still could get nominated. They're doing their own campaign.
Yeah, the thing about foreign film is it has to be submitted by the country, and if India is not going to do that, I think they want a more serious film to be their entry as opposed to RRR.
Robert Thompson Watson says, Alan, you're still not selling Tar to me. You do need to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a talkie film. Your mileage may vary, as you say.
Right. Dempsey, how does the word tar become titular? I don't know. Patrick Lemire, is it a classical Whiplash? Maybe some elements of that, but not really. It's not only that it takes place in the world of music. Robert Thompson Watson goes on to say, tar equals terrible title. First rule of filmmaking, get a good title. Yeah, I don't think it's a very good title.
Yeah, the problem is that the title plays at the end of the movie when there's a certain revelation that occurs, but it's not that, it doesn't have that big of an impact to me to name it the movie, essentially.
Matthew Hammond for $4.99. Thank you for that. Would Alan go on Chrissy Mayer's podcast? She did improv for several years in New York before switching to stand-up comedy. Maybe at some point, Alan, Alan should start probably doing more shows. It takes the pressure off me. It's feel like everybody wants to book me on. I get, and I just look, I want to wait until my movie is out. When my movie is out, I'm going to be on every podcast. You're going to be sick of me. You will be sick of me. But my movie, for several reasons, we're having to push it coming out until next year because we're waiting on some film festivals to give us an answer. But we are working on the Blu-ray for Attack of the Duck. I'm very excited about it. But yeah, Alan, you should do more shows.
Yeah. I mean, I'm under no illusion that I'm great at this, but at the same time, I'm learning. And so, each time I go out, I have to go and think back what happened, what I did, what could I have done better. There's a confidence level that comes with going on other people's shows.
You'll be fine.
But you got to get invited.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Tony Bowers just became a member. Thank you for that.
Hey, Tony.
JTP RX is a member. Love Alan. Okay, Alan, send me some of that Disney Warner Brothers money cash.
I don't know. What did you do?
Steve O'Cal says, Alan is a cult leader, and you're all blind to see the danger. Dempsey says, award shows were fun when we didn't get to hear from celebrities all the time. We do hear from them a lot now, so nobody cares. That's interesting. Maybe there is sort of a celebrity fatigue when you see like a Mark Ruffalo on like social media, like Twitter, just posting about BS. Then you want to, it basically, I feel like social media has made celebrities so accessible that it's made them unlikable. So, and award shows were like the only place you could see a celebrity kind of be unplugged. Now you can see them on Twitter all the time, and you realize, oh, they can be assholes just like anyone.
But that's the thing. I want to see celebrities be assholes on live television, but they're so afraid of it now. I mean, obviously, so they're going to get attacked for the wrong misstep, for the worst joke. But you kind of want to see that. You don't want to see the polished politician appearing at these award shows.
Patty McKinnon for 10 says, Chris, do you ever hold events at the Second Life Film Threat Sim? You could have an awards watch. Yes, we have done that. We have done events in the Film Threat Theater in Second Life. We did like 4 or 5 events. We're kind of, it's a lot to put together. It's a lot to produce. So we haven't done it lately, but what we could do is we could screen our award show there, and we're also doing it on YouTube. So when our award show comes out, we record it on like a Saturday night, and then we'll, release it on Monday night. And so we'll do the same thing. We'll do that next year. I think the date for the awards, if you want to come to it, you can buy tickets. April 29th is the date that we have on our calendar for award this. But yeah, we could do that in Second Life at the same time, which would be a lot of fun. I have an avatar that looks just like me. And I have an avatar that looks just like me, and I have different clothes. I have a tuxedo. So MM for 20. Thank you, MM. Saw 30th anniversary edition of Coppola's Dracula in a theater last weekend. Sounded amazing. Great film and great example of an adaptation that made changes from source material without losing the essence of the story. This is really, like, for me, like, look, I go to the movies every week, but it is like a treasure trove. There's always some classic movie playing. I just bought tickets to Dark Crystal in December.
Is that Fathom Events too?
It's a Fathom Events. I was waiting for your reaction. Come on,
I know.
It's Jim Henson.
As much as I love Jim Henson, we just saw Dark Crystal recently, and it was like, wow, this is pretty dated.
It is kind of dated. It feels very dated, but I don't care. I'm seeing it in the theater. Yeah. Sean Z, Comic Construct for $4.99. Alan, how do I book you for a podcast? It would be an honor, bro. You're great. What's the best way to make it happen? Hope you're enjoying your day. FT for life. I'll tell you exactly how you can do that. It's very simple. You go to filmthreat.com/contact. Just sort of scrolled. There's sort of like different, it's like sort of our customer service, right? If you want to talk to us, just make sure you direct your correspondence to Alan. Alan will see it, and he'll get back with you. He'll get back to you within 4 to 6 weeks.
Yes.
Because Alan is look, I have complaints about you, Alan. One of them is not answering emails.
Yeah.
You're not good at that.
I am not good at that. I am not. And I feel bad about it. I know there are publicists who are like, please respond. And I'm still trying to figure out Gmail and how that system works.
First of all, I have a million folders and filters, and having that organization, like, I'm super anal retentive organized. No surprise to anybody, but I have these. I just set up filters, and I have folders, and like, I know, like, if a folder, like, oh, there's something in there, I know what that's about. So, and also I'm a zero inbox guy. So I respond to everything.
Yeah.
Alan, I want to inspire you to do the same thing that I do.
Yeah. The other thing is my schedule and trying to make that work, because I never know what I'm doing every day. Like, I've been trying to do Midnight's Edge on Monday morning, and I've realized Monday morning is the worst time. In terms of Monday morning is the day I'm catching up on everything.
Well,
so what I do a podcast.
What I do is over the weekend, I do a couple hours of email each day. So I start my Monday with, like, I'm not overwhelmed. But I hear you. And look, if you want to replace
what I do over the weekend is spend time with my family. And
I also do that. But I also do that, but I can multitask. I'm sitting there, I get my couple hours out of the way, and boom. And then we're off to have adventures, and hang with my family. I don't spend too much time. I mean, I definitely limit it, but it's like, an hour or two just to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you want to book Alan,
Yeah.
you can totally do that. If you would want to make that mistake and book Alan on your show, feel free to do that. And also follow Alan on
I
Twitter.
will ruin your show. I will ruin your show.
Follow Alan on Twitter at mypalal.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I will thank you. And if you respond to that thank you, Chris will respond to you.
I'm so annoyed. Okay. David Glenn just became a member. Well, thank you for that. Check out the members tab. We post exclusive stuff there and give a lot of stuff away. CD Stein 69 is here. It's so hard now to separate the artist from the art like we used to. We could like a performance and really didn't give a shit about their off-camera personal life.
Mhm.
That's true. The problem is it's not like there's an indiscretion or a celebrity doing something weird and stupid. It's sort of the constant spewing of opinions and in some cases hate. And it's really hard to watch sometimes. Amanda Nowicki, hope I get lucky and get my hands on a copy of Attack of the Doc. We're not going to announce it here, but we do have like a date in mind for next year of when it's going to come out. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited about it. I did also, this is it's not really breaking news, whatever. I had a conversation with Fathom Events about potentially putting Attack of the Doc in theaters for one day, and we would do it on a Tuesday. It would just be one day, one showing at the theater. It might be 300 theaters, whatever, not a huge release, but I don't know that there's enough interest. So, but we're having conversations about it. So we'll see. So this is why I feel like the movie maybe has more potential. So I want to wait. I want to look at some film festivals that I submitted to. And so the movies that we're just, the little details is what we're finishing, right? So yeah, thank you for that. Kantara has been hailed as the best Indian film of the year. Demands are being made to send Kantara to the Academy Awards as the official selection of India for next year. That would make sense. That would make sense. Alan's going to talk about Kantara today.
Yes.
Because he saw it. Dempsey, award shows were fun. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I already got to that one. Okay. Sorry about that. Sound of one man laughing wins the great Star Wars trial. We do need to do that. We do need to do that.
I feel like it will not happen this year.
I feel like it may not happen this year. I mean, who knows? But no, that's something that's definitely, we've got like artwork and graphics and like, we got a logo. We're ready to do it.
You know what it is? If Andor was great or horrible, I think we'd be more motivated to do it. But it's just neither. It's just flying at that level of, yeah, it's okay. It's an okay show.
It's just okay at best. And a whole bunch of posts from Toxic Waltz N8. I'm going to read these. Hopefully I'm reading them.
Going back to Tar, by the way.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Toxic Waltz N8 says, yeah, the cancel culture aspect was completely overblown. It does not hang over the whole film, and I was waiting for it to be a larger thing. It's a pivotal thing, though. I can see people not enjoying Tar, but F the people who say it's boring. You knew exactly what you were getting into when you chose to see it. Yeah. Caught Tar last Friday. I completely agree with Alan's film threat review. Unfortunately, I got my nephews cold the day after, but luckily Terrifier 2 and Dawn 3D are playing throughout the next week here.
That's right.
Goes on to say, but the big question is, does she get the nom win, or is it guaranteed going to Michelle Yeoh for representation points? No. I'll tell you who's going to win the Oscar for Best Actress. It's Danielle Deadwyler for Till. Now, let me tell you, I'm not telling you it's the best performance. I am not, and I'm telling you, I also don't agree with it. There's sort of like who I'd like to see win, and Danielle Deadwyler definitely earns a nomination.
Yeah,
100% earns it. But I do think that because of the historical event that Till is based on, that will push it over the edge. It's an important film.
Yeah, I think rational heads will prevail, and the real best performance will win it. And Michelle Yeoh, yeah, it was good, but you know, I wouldn't call that Oscar. This is going to be a weird year. She could get nominated just because of the lack of other roles out there. But Blanchett, I think people will see it and will understand that why she deserves that award if she gets nominated.
And it's also going to probably the movie She Said, which I'm seeing tonight. I'll talk about it I'll talk about She Said on Friday. Paul Colton for 5 says Tar was good, but I don't think it needed to be almost 3 hours long.
Yeah,
it's that is a flaw. I do think it's like it's 2:30 maybe. It is over 2 hours, but this is the thing. Movies shouldn't be, in my opinion, unless you're making some sweeping epic, you gotta crunch that. There's very few movies I see north of 2 hours that have earned it. Wakanda Forever, by the way, 2 hours and 41 minutes. I know. No.
And the advertising, I'll just say this, it's really pushing the women of Wakanda. There's a whole makeup line, cosmetics line of Wakanda.
Is there really?
Cosmetics. Yeah, there is. Disney's really pushing it. If you look at the posters and the standout, Winston Duke and Namor, the guy who plays Namor, are the only males who appear on in posters and in any promotional material. So it's not to say that being the women of Wakanda is going to make it a bad movie, but it feels like they're pushing. They're reaching out to the female end of the audience base than is the broader end of the audience base.
And this is actually a still from in the background from Kantara, but it looks like Namor. It looks like the new Namor, which I think looks. I don't know. I'm not sold on the take for Namor here. But Alan, why don't you tell us, because so many have begged and talked about. Alan, will you tell us your thoughts on Kantara?
Right.
Let's get this
set
up here because people have demanded this review. And I want to hear your thoughts because I did not get an opportunity to see it. It wasn't playing near me. You got to see Kantara.
Yeah. I mean, it's still in limited theaters. I had to actually go to a Cinemark to see it, a Harkin, I guess that's what they are. But let's see. Kantara is an Indian film. Takes place. So basically, back in ancient times, there was a forest that was guarded by a demigod, and the king of that time, he had brought peace to the land, but felt uneasy about it. So he made a deal with the demigod that the demigod would bring peace to the land for centuries, and so now we move to modern times where that peace deal was kind of broken. The government moves in. They want to make this forest a national park, and that involves maybe moving the people who live there out, which kind of comes in conflict with the demigod. And so that brings us to today, where the government is moving in, and the villagers there want to stay. And one of them is our hero named Shiva, who him and his friends. I think the biggest conflict that you see here is that the government is controlling what the people can do in the forest. For example, cutting down trees for lumber or for hunting. And so Shiva kind of does a civil disobedience, and him and his buddies go out and they start hunting a wild boar. The girl he likes, she recently graduated, became one of the forest patrol, and now there's kind of this conflict going on. And all at the same time, there's the demigod, who may or may not be around, but every year they celebrate him. You saw a picture of a guy dressing up as the demigod, and so this kind of mystical tale unfolds, and this battle between the villagers and the government. There's a lot of fighting involved. A lot of it's close combat. I'm setting this up because basically, we started getting into Indian films, talking about Indian films with RRR. And so that's the comparison we have here. And, I'll be honest here. It was an okay movie. It's close to 3 hours. It's probably an hour too long. And I think the problem, or the thing that the issues I had connecting with it are this. When you have a foreign film, and when us outsiders come and watch your film, there has to be something that we can connect with the story. With RRR, the connections were there. It was about patriotism. It was about family. It was about brotherhood. But in this one, I don't feel like the connection was there in terms of me, as Asian as I am, I'm for the most part a Westerner. And it was just really hard for me to kind of connect with the spiritual elements of this story. I appreciated the spiritual elements of it, but in terms of me embracing the film and loving it like I did RRR, it just wasn't there for me. Action was good. Big fan of wrestling and a lot of close combat, a lot of wrestling-like techniques. They use that camera technique where they slow down the film during a fight to kind of emphasize moves, basically. It was, to me, the film, it felt too long, an hour too long. The other thing was the subtitles. They flew by fast and furious. It was hard to kind of keep up with the subtitles in it because people were talking fast and there's a lot being said and I was missing a lot. If you do go out and see the movie, I would say do not see it in Telugu, but see it in Kannada. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right because I believe the film is shot, the original dialogue is Kannada. Telugu, they had to dub it, and so it comes across as a dubbed movie, even though it's not in the language I'm used to. And so I think the coming down to it, I appreciated watching it. I'm not sure that I would go back and watch it again like I would RRR. But to me, what I like about international films is just get an exposure of that culture, of the Indian culture and its history, which we're getting a lot of with these films. And very, very tepid. If it sounds interesting to you, go and see it.
All right. Well, I didn't expect that, and I'm glad. You were honest. Your honest review. Yeah. I still don't know, what does the action come from?
The action, it's basically the fight between the villagers and the government. And of course, there's the big bad who's kind of the big boss here, and so they're fighting against him. There's a point where Shiva and his friends are cutting down a tree, a very large tree, and it falls and crashes on the bad guy. And so now Shiva is charged with murder of that guy. And of course, you kind of know what's happening in terms of what happened to that villain at that point halfway through the film. And so it's a lot of little skirmishes, breaking out of prison, staying a step ahead of the law. And then there's a little bit of intrigue in the third act.
Yeah. Let's go to some comments here about Kantara. Alan Horkin says, Indian film an hour too long. I expect there were gratuitous dance numbers too. Shocked, I say. Next time you will tell me the French film by a first-time director was pretentious. That's sort of a given.
Yeah, there are dance numbers, but they're in context with the ceremony of the demigod. Penjurli is the demigod, and it's all within context of this annual celebration. So I wasn't the dancing is not gratuitous, I would say.
Red Terror 1978 says, "Is this a combination of Moana and The Village?"
I'm not sure about The Village, but probably closer to Moana, definitely.
Gotcha. Spaceman, wow, does this sound stupid? Government bad, villagers good, big stretch.
Yeah, there is a twist, but I'll be honest, the twist is similar to what you see in RRR as well.
Oh, really? All right. Okay, well, all right. So your mileage may vary on this. I know people have been raving about it. I don't know, but I do agree with you, Alan, on the fact that there's got to be, there are some films that, like, culturally I just don't feel like a connection to. Mm-hmm. I did with RRR for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think it gets more into the spiritual, the religious end of Hinduism and what goes on in India. I felt like you kind of feeling the same way when you saw Brahmastra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we'll go we have some other comments here from people. Let's get to those. Some non-related to Kantara. So we're gonna lose that. All right. Back to your comments. MK Solid 82 for 4.99 says, Chris, I thought Barbarian was interesting, but the abrupt ending felt like the director just gave up in the end. Abrupt endings are the worst. Look, I think yeah, I mean, you could say it ended abruptly. I like the turn from Justin Long. I mean, you could see that one coming. What an asshole! But he's great at playing assholes. I love it. I bet part of him kind of enjoys doing that. You know, it's fun.
Well, yeah, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Talk about
Yeah.
an abrupt ending. I know people who love the movie up until the ending.
Right. But it didn't bother me that much. It didn't bother me. You know, I still like questions. Rahul Ray says, it's clear you only saw the surface level of the story. There were many different layers to the story, which you probably missed.
Yeah, I will.
Mad at you.
Yeah, I will say you're probably right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Solomon Thornton says, Chris, I am with you on Namor. I'm not convinced with this version of him. I always thought Namor could have been Asian and be played by Daniel Day Kim or Alan. Wait, I didn't finish reading that comment.
You mean Beer Belly Namor?
Where did the comment go?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know I missed that comment. Yeah. Plus, Marvel has Hispanic heroes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they made Namor, like I always thought was just Asian because the way he was drawn in the comics, I saw him just differently than what Ryan Coogler came up with. But frankly, I am not looking forward to Wakanda Forever. I'm not looking forward to a Black Panther movie without Black Panther. I am I don't know, the fact that they haven't recast the character. And also but I will say this, the people who went to the world premiere of it loved it. Best Marvel movie since the last one.
I will say this, in the comic book, I always felt Atlantis was its own culture. It didn't need to be based on an existing culture.
Yeah.
And, I kind of wish they had done that rather than make him Aztec. Just make up a whole different culture and base it around that.
Well, Alan for Namor.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Johnny Fuerte says, is a Triangle of Sadness review coming soon? Yeah, how about Friday? We'll talk about it.
Which one is that one?
I cannot wait to talk about it. I don't know that we'll have time today, but we'll definitely I got to put together the plan for Friday's show, but we need to add Triangle of Sadness. I don't want to ruin too much, but it is out. Let me just say, I recommend seeing it so I can talk freely about it.
Huh.
I really enjoyed it. So there, you already got you already know I like the film, but I want to talk about specific details. There's like 2 aspects of the movie I'm dying to dive into. We'll talk about it on Friday. CD Stein 69 for $9.99. Always love to say that. Chris, make sure on the next FT versus everyone knows the assignment. Alan Wink. And per your suggestion, when you were on our show, we did start a channel and we'll get it worked out to have you back. Yes, CD Stein 69. We did sort of a dry run of a podcast. Unfortunately, I didn't have much time that day, but I'll be back, and that's great. You started a channel. Post it, and everyone subscribe to CD Stein 69's channel. Post the link in the chat. That's awesome.
I will say horror movies is not my wheelhouse at all.
Not your wheelhouse?
No, I don't watch horror movies.
All right. Now, do we have an update on Quantum Leap?
Yeah, it's still bad.
First of all, let's just give it a second here. Let's talk about this. Alan, let me feature you. We got a lot of movies to talk about today. Quantum Leap, give us your update on the show.
Yeah.
Well, I get a refill. I got to get a refill here. I'll be right back.
I will say, saying it's bad, only bad because it's trying to be Quantum Leap. I feel like if they had just created a whole new series, it'd be an okay movie, an okay TV show. And I'll just say this about Quantum Leap. It's bland as hell. And the characters are bland. And that's the problem with the show. And you feel like that having said that, that they could make some minor changes to actually fix the show. And so let's fix Quantum Leap. How do you make bland characters interesting? You give them some kind of a backstory. You give them some kind of you create a character, and you don't make them, you don't call it strong woman and leave it at that, or you don't leave it as enlightened man. You have to give characters a lot more depth than that. We need to understand their backstory, their history, what got them to this point in life. The other thing that makes a bland character not bland is the idea that they're human beings, meaning that they're imperfect, that they have what I hear a lot of people talk about in terms of character development. They have a fatal flaw. And there's something about the way they've grown up, or their personality, that makes them imperfect and therefore relatable. Because the reality is we're all imperfect, and we relate to people who are not always perfect all the time. And that's the problem with the show is, it's all the characters are just people who exist in a show. It's like you grab 5 random people, put them in an escape room, and said, "Okay, escape." And so they figure out puzzles, and then they escape. And that's pretty boring week after week. You've got to say there's this idea that if you have 5 people on your show, that they all have to complement each other, and not just from a job standpoint, but from a personality standpoint. Someone is strong, someone is weak, someone has, someone is the leader, someone is a good follower but has a certain set of skills. And that is the problem with the show, is that every person is just a person. Ben is set in the situation. He has to figure it out. He figures out, he moves on. His team is there. They're there to help him move on. But none of them have any kind of backstory or flaw that we care about. And that's the problem with this show, and why it is so bland, and why people are just not talking about it. House of the Dragon, you can take each character, break them down, understand their motivations, understand their fears, their weaknesses, their strengths, and how they play against each other, and how it made the problems that the Targaryens are going down. That's an interesting show. Those are interesting characters. And it just seems to me that Hollywood doesn't know how to do that anymore. Show after show, Reva from Kenobi, bland as hell. She's just a tough female Sith, or whatever they call her. So so we're continuing down Quantum Leap. It's just doing the same old. Spends less time on the actual assignment Sam has to figure out. Spends too much time on the backstory, and so we'll probably wait another couple weeks before we talk about Quantum Leap again.
Well, Alan, thank you for the update. I appreciate that. You've confirmed for me that I don't need to watch the show. I feel like that can apply to a lot of shows, but it's interesting you bring up House of the Dragon. By comparison, the characters are all flawed in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of them are too bloodthirsty or quick to violence. Some are frequent masturbators. So your flaws definitely are all over the map, but that's what has made Game of Thrones. And yes, we don't need to talk about that Game of Thrones disappointed in the end, but it was so good. There were so many good seasons, and I think that's also the tragedy of that show. But I'll tell you, House of the Dragon really, for me, has been great through and through. I even like the last 2 episodes. Although I think what they should have done, they should have split the season into 2 halves, because it would have made the time jump and the recasting more palatable. And secondly, that last episode could have been 2 hours, right? It just should have been a 2 hour or 90-minute episode. I think might have been better served.
I'll just bring up King Viserys. He's the leader, he's the king, but he's weak. I mean, that he struggle. He wants to maintain peace at all costs, but at the same time, he needs to keep his family in mind. And to me, that's a deep character. He has all the flaws there, and that's TV doesn't have that anymore. Network television doesn't have that anymore.
Well, you could say he's weak, but his rule, it was a time of peace.
Yeah.
It was a time of peace for the most part. And now we're getting into the dance of the dragons. I for one, and we're going to get, when we're going to see House of the Dragon season 2? In 2024. So there you go. And it's all going to be about Trump. That's just the rumor. It's not. Thank God.
Well, it depends if he runs again. It'll be about Trump then.
Then it'll be, yes. Yeah, it will. Yeah. No, look, I think that I think it would just be wise to steer clear of politics altogether when it comes to this stuff. Let's go to the chat with your chat questions. We got a lot more movies to cover. We have our special guest coming on in about an hour. I can't wait to talk to you about 52577. We'll do that next. Let's get to our super chats here. Ken Bogus for 5. I love how Alan could basically skip watching Quantum Leap, say how bad it was, make up fake plots, and no one here would notice. Yeah, why don't you do it? Why don't you just?
Oh, you want to talk about it? This last one about the Exorcist.
There's an exorcist.
Yeah, he plays an exorcist in this one.
Oh my God.
It's interesting, but I, being the deeply religious man that I am, Sam lives in that, or Ben lives in that world of science versus spirituality, but he leans on the science end of it. Mm-hmm. And they bring in elements of spirituality, which kind of plays in line with what the original Quantum Leap was about. That maybe God was controlling Sam's leaps. This one, yeah, first of all, he plays an exorcist. Clearly, no one on the writing staff knows anything about A, exorcism, or B, Christianity. Especially when they talk about the Holy Spirit and how the Holy Spirit is just a ghost. How do you get that wrong? How do you get that wrong? When you have the most religious people there, and they just believe that the Holy Spirit is an angel of some sort, and it's like, there you go. That's where we're at. I hate this. I hated that episode, and it had such potential going into it.
All right, let's get into more of these chats here. MK Solid 82 for $1.99. Alan, can we get an Asian Remington Steel?
Yeah, why not?
Oh my God. CD Stein 69 for $9.99. Oh, I think we already did that one, but I like to say your name. So there you go.
I will say this: Remington Steele, if he was from Singapore, I think it would actually work.
That could work.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that suave British accent.
Yeah. Big Worm just became a YouTube member. Thank you for that, Big Worm. And Big Worm goes on to say, Quantum Leap is only watchable if you skip through present day scenes. They need to seriously de-emphasize, almost remove that part of the show. Don't fix those characters, drop them.
Yeah, I've been saying that from the very beginning of this new series.
Yeah. Zaven, the plot devolves into mundanity, devoid of tension, it sounds like. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Alan Horkin says, thanks for the Quantum Leap updates. Still sounds like skip it rather than binge it later.
Yeah.
Did I read that?
I mean, each week essentially is an escape room that you go into an escape room, you figure out the puzzle, and then you get out.
Big Worm says, I've watched them all. It's just not good with present day. I'm rewatching all of the old Quantum Leap, and that's what makes it great. They only start talking present day very late in the series. Mm-hmm. So there you go. And comment here, Tree of Woe, well put, Alan, the voice of reason. Yeah. Preach on. So
it's just these things you're supposed to learn these in college, in writing class. And for some reason, there's this attack on what's been done before, but what's been done before has worked because it survives centuries of writing and art.
There you go. Toxic Waltz N8 says, compare the characters of both Hocus Pocus movies. The old ones had unique personalities, while the sequel were entirely bland, know-it-all, can't be wrong queens.
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks for taking one for the team, Alan. Quantum Leap was a childhood favorite, and I want nothing to do with this iteration, says Tony Bowers, who's a member. Thank you for that. Toxic Waltz N8 goes on to say, I can't watch anything that contains a girl boss protagonist. Amanda Nowicki Wait, sorry, I missed a man in a wiki. Fantasy politics is what is needed in shows like House of the Dragon and Rings of Power. Keep real world politics out of it. And Matthew Hammond for $4.99 says Quantum Leap needs to finish up the secondary storyline and allow the Leaper to lead the show. The evil Leaper came on in the first season. And Kevin Rubio is back in the chat. Andor is about the rise of a fascist dictatorship. You don't get more political. And I am not caught up on Andor. We will do a season finale review. And I'll just binge watch the last few episodes. But I think that I think that the thing is that the show shouldn't be about that. It should be about the characters. Really, the characters drive it. That's the backdrop of the world. And certainly Star Wars also had politics, the original Star Wars, but it was very much beneath the surface, almost like fairy tale like, right? Like kings and queens and emperors and stuff like that. So, yeah. Yeah,
but let's face it, Palpatine becomes a fascist.
Yeah.
He dismantles, the Republic. The Senate, so to speak, or at least has control over it. So it's there. It's always been there. But you don't have to necessarily say, but that's Trump,
Well, look, there's over 369 people watching right now. Hey, slap that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed.
Oh, wow.
And then, you'll get more videos like this.
Finish him. Oh, my jeans.
This, you'll get a video just like that. Kevin, thank you for that. And got to get you on the show at some point. When we do our Critics Court trial, Kevin will be part of the trial. So there you go for that. Other
crimes, of course.
Yes. Dempsey, to these Hollywood types, anything traditional is bad. So traditional writing is also probably out. That is the way it seems to me anyway. So there you go. MK Solid 82 for $4.99. Chris, have you met Peter Weller? I have not. How do you feel about the future of RoboCop? I love the original RoboCop. With Peter Weller. I think it was, what's weird is now we're kind of living in that time. Crime is out of control. We actually do have like security guard robots. There's one right outside where you go to the Alamo Draft House in downtown LA. It looks like a Dalek. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
It looks like a Dalek, and it literally is a thing that just sort of patrols this one area, and you can report a crime to it. It's very bizarre.
I had lunch in LA yesterday, and I swear the city, I don't recognize the city anymore.
Isn't it disgusting?
It is like a dystopian future in LA.
It's like RoboCop.
Yeah.
No, it's like RoboCop crime. It's like the Detroit portrayed in RoboCop. It's horrific. I used to go downtown all the time. I would take the train. I'd go to restaurants, bars, movie theaters. Nope. Nope. And I will avoid, if there's something happening downtown, it's like, unless it's absolutely something I have to do. I avoid it. I just do. It's not what it used to be. And I have 3 friends that have been assaulted by vagrants. Yeah, horrific. And how do I feel about the future of RoboCop? Now, no better time than now, because the future Detroit, crime-ridden Detroit, as portrayed in the original RoboCop, that exists in almost every metropolitan city in the United States now. Big cities have been overrun. I mean, there's like a new viral video, more than one a day, of just terrible, rampant crime. Bring back RoboCop. Bring back positive robot police officer.
Yeah, but my question is, which gender? Which gender should it be?
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, we've got 30 to choose.
female RoboCop. Okay, Patrick Lemire says, but Newsom is popular. Wink, wink. Yeah, I don't know. I voted yesterday. I got my.
We're gonna reelect him. So
I think you can tell. You can tell probably the way I voted. I don't know. People are crazy in this state. I don't know what they're doing. But I've already voted, so I knew how I was going to vote a while ago, and it was just satisfying to do it. I never got my mail-in ballot. I never got it, so I fucking went in person.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it. It was great. So,
yeah, I just want to play poker online again. That's my only goal with this election.
CD Stein 69 for $1.99. Alan's idea: crazy rich detective Asians. There you go. Doc Savage for $2. Hi, Alan. Do you still feel the same way about Pig?
Do I still feel? This is the Nick Cage one, right?
Yes. Well, no, there's the Nick Cage one, and there's an indie one called Pig, right?
Or is that Cow? No, is it Pig?
It's Pig.
Is it Pig?
Look up Pig.
I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list. I do need to see it because it's nominated at the Critics' Choice. But
talking about Pig, the Nicolas Cage Pig.
I mean, I appreciate Pig a lot in terms of.
No, there's a movie called Piggy.
Yeah. Well, if we're talking about the Nicolas Cage Pig, I still appreciate that movie a lot. First of all, he never lays a punch in, but it's an action film. And then
this was
and then I love food too.
It was at Sundance. Piggy was at Sundance. I'm sure it got a decent review. 8 out of 10 for Piggy.
10.
It's
who reviewed that?
That was Rob Rector reviewed.
Oh, okay.
And then Pig, the Nicolas Cage movie, which I thought was amazing. It's on Hulu now. I see a thing that says new to Hulu, and you reviewed it. And
yes, I did.
Only a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I wasn't blown away by it. I think, I appreciate films like this, but I do want to be blown away by them.
Gotcha. Okay. And Sean Z, Comic Construct, you guys need to move here to Houston or Austin. FT for life. I am hoping that I'll have a movie playing in Austin. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
I hear Austin is the LA of Texas.
Yeah. Austin is super ultra liberal. And I have friends that in 2020 moved to Austin from downtown LA, and now they regret it. I think they regret it. I think they're going to move. I think if you're going to live anywhere in Texas, I would not live in Austin. Although I do like 6th Street. I like 6th Street. I like the Chuggin' Monkey bar on 6th Street. Was that other bar, the Library? And then there's that, the Driscoll Hotel has a really amazing lounge area. There's a bar in the back, and that Driscoll Hotel has like just amazing artwork all over the walls, and a great hotel bar, the Driscoll. And then, I don't know. There are a lot of things I do really like about Austin, Texas. So there you go. Alan Horkin says, wasn't RoboCop filmed in Austin? I do not know that. Was RoboCop filmed in Austin?
Let me see. I'm reading here. It was filmed outside of Pittsburgh.
Okay. Well, there you go. Look at that. Alan, I didn't even have to ask you. You're like,
I know.
It's great.
I do the same chat as you do. So
this is how our relationship is deepening. I don't even need to say it. You're way ahead of me. I love it. Alcoholic semen thrower. Thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you to Alcoholic Semen Thrower, who's a member. I want to thank you for your membership, your support of the channel, and for your wonderful chat question here. Alcoholic Semen Thrower goes on to say, as someone with Mayan ancestry, Namor being made Mayan strikes me as super tarded. It makes his bastardization even more ridiculous. Mel Gibson gave us more good faith representation long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like it's pandering. The character was never like that. And they're kind of shoehorning in. Part of it is Gary Beekler brought this up on Nerdrotic today on the Nooner. He says he believes it's a rights issue, and what they need to do is change Namor so that they can have the rights to use him in a movie.
Yeah,
Right?
but they kind of own the rights now that they bought Fox.
So that's the reason that they changed the look of Namor. If you're quote 25% off model,
oh yeah,
and you don't,
yeah, and the movie was made before they bought Fox. So.
Yeah, and then yeah, I mean, like part of the reasons for that, right? Like a lot of it is just to take rights away from creators because they can say, well, it's a different version of the character. It's like why they got rid of the red underpants with Superman and they got rid of the curl. They took away like iconic parts of the Superman character as a way to go, well, it's a very different incarnation of Superman. Alan Horkin says it's 20% different. So we'll see. But,
and then David Glenn is saying that Universal owns the rights.
Well, Universal owns the rights to do a single name, like do a Namor movie, but I believe the way sometimes these rights are split up in weird ways. Like the Hulk is like that. Universal also owns the Hulk for an individual film. So if Marvel wanted to, same thing with Spider-Man. Spider-Man is Sony, right? So years ago they sold these rights, but they kind of parsed it in certain ways where they still had the characters, but not the rights to use the characters certain ways. So they use the characters. So Universal could make a Namor movie just with Namor in it, but Marvel still has the rights to the characters, so they could use a slightly different version in another Marvel movie, in a Black Panther movie. Does that make sense? It's a really long-winded. That's a really long-winded explanation. That, but alcoholic semen thrower. That makes. He says that makes it even worse. Wow. He goes on to say. Yeah, so they changed it. So basically they had to change it for legal reasons and just sort of shoehorned in the sort of Mayan background of the character. The one thing that I think will be decent about this movie, what Ryan Coogler did very well in Black Panther, was world building. I expect him to do that, but I thought that Black Panther was sidelined in his own movie. You know, that all the side characters became more interesting than T'Challa. So what they're about to do with this Black Panther, I'm not looking forward to seeing it on Monday. And Alan, I'll see you. Alan, first of all, I'm seeing you Friday for the Asian Cinema Awards.
Yeah.
Right.
With the Critics' Choice. Yeah, Critics' Choice. I'll be there.
Critics' Choice Asian Cinema Awards. Then I'm going to see you Monday for Namor the movie. Yeah. Wakanda Forever. And then I don't know, I'll probably see you at something else.
Yeah.
Alan, whenever Alan like comes up to LA, he doesn't like say, "Hey, I'm up in LA. Do you want to get together?" He's in and out.
I'm in and out because literally it takes. Well, I was in Beverly Hills last night. It took me an hour and a half to get there, and so there's not.
What were you there for?
I went to see The Inspection,
and
it's an LGBT story. I actually liked it. It was actually pretty good. Tessa Thompson was there.
All right, well, there you go. Tessa Thompson.
And it was. I will say, William Morris Agency, great food. Thank you for the buffet afterwards.
It was a buffet after.
Well, it was a reception, but there was a lot of food there.
Well, that explains a good review.
Yeah.
So the food was good, and the movie was good.
Look, it's been proven. I'll take bribes. I will absolutely take bribes.
Okay. All right. Cool. Brock Samsonite, who's a member, says Universal owns the rights to use certain characters in certain looks in the theme parks in Florida. That's true. And I was also on the Nerder today. We were talking about there's this sort of Marvel area of Universal Studios where it's like a bunch of roller coasters, but it's all 90s Marvel stuff. It's really cool.
X-Men are there. That's the best part. The X-Men.
Yeah. X-Men. It's great. The Fantastic Four. Oh, first of all, by the way, I actually have a Fantastic Four costume that is accurate, and the arms are like 10 feet long and they stretch. Yeah. I'm serious. I thought about maybe wearing it, and then I was like, nah, I'll kind of feel like an idiot.
And I'll say this: the Spider-Man ride at Islands of Adventure is my favorite theme park ride ever.
Wow.
And it's far better. From what I hear, it's far better than what's at California Adventure.
And Sean Z Comic Construct, which I think if you check your email, he may have emailed you, Alan.
I'm not gonna check right now.
You're not going to check right now?
No, because I'm doing a live stream right now.
You're doing a live stream. All right. Well, look, I'm checking some emails here and there. I'm just doing it. I don't care. I'm doing it. It's fun. All right. Let's get
I'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Okay. Sean Z Comic-Con struck for $4.99. Wakanda Forever won't be good. It's like watching Batman and there's no Bruce Wayne. Batman and you're there for Catwoman only. It's honestly selfish. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't recast the character. What they could have done is they could have had this sort of first half like takes place during like, you know, after the events of Infinity War, and you know, he's gone and how they survive it, and then he comes back at the end. He's got to kick some ass with the Avengers, and then returns, and then what that's like. But that's not my understanding. Is that's not where it goes, and I don't know. All I know is that everyone that went to the world premiere loved the movie. They loved it.
Look, I'll say this: the only thing Wakanda Forever has going for it is Ryan Coogler, because he has not produced a flop yet, and it'll be interesting if this is the first one. But you know, he's got such a track record that that I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt here.
Go Party Time says 90s X-Men is peak coolness. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And Dempsey says, in my opinion, if they can recast Dumbledore, they can recast T'Challa. Also, if she's going to rule, she needs to fight to the death for it. Her male counterparts had to do that. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how they handle that. But and there you go. And I've heard that Storm of X-Men might show up in Wakanda eventually because they know Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever is going to bomb. I don't think audiences are going to like it very much. I just don't think they are.
Because I don't think Storm is going to show up. I think that's being given to Ironheart, right? In terms of the new character, the new Black character.
Yeah. Let's switch gears here for another review. God, we're not going to get to everything today. I'm bummed about this. We're not going to get to everything, but I want to talk about, this is on the thumbnail. I really want to talk about 5/25/77. I need to tell you all about this movie. I'll you know what? I'm going big, Alan. 5/25/77 is directed by Patrick Reed Johnson, and it stars, well, effectively a character based on Patrick Reed Johnson, who's a kid growing up in the Midwest, the middle of nowhere, who loves to make movies. Since he was 7, 8, 9 years old, he's been making little Super 8 epics based on the genre movies that he loves, based on things like 2001: A Space Odyssey, based on The Planet of the Apes. He is a fan of all things genre. And not only did this kind of, I kind of feel a little bit selfish, because in the sense that, like, I feel like this movie 5/25/77 was made for me, because that was me. I was obsessed with genre stuff as a kid, and just like the character in 5/25/77, Pat, he, you know, watches genre movies and sci-fi. He reads Starlog magazine, an American cinematographer. He's you know, has a room like filled with all sorts of model kits and whatnot, and it's sort of like ends up becoming, he's always like getting his friends involved in making his projects and whatnot. And he goes on this kind of, he discovers the movie Star Wars exists. On this trip out to the West Coast, he talks to someone who helps get him on the set of Star Wars as it's being made. He knew Star Wars was going to be amazing before it came out, because my recollection of Star Wars is nobody had heard of this. No one knew it was coming. The advertisements for Star Wars at the time, because the title of this movie is the date that Star Wars opened. That's why you see a lot of people put 77 at the end of their, you know, like, yeah, but look, my user, my gamer tag on the PlayStation is gbone77. Don't ask. Gbone was my Vegas name, but I just added gbone77. I've had it for years. I used to have it for Xbox. Anyways, a lot of people use 77 in tags. That Star Wars girl, 77. She uses that. In any case, I felt like I was watching a movie that could have been about me when I was seeing it, because he even starts his own little movie studio. Patrick starts his own movie studio called Moonwatcher Studios. And Moonwatcher is the name of the character of the ape, the lead ape in 2001: A Space Odyssey. A lot of people don't realize that that ape had a name, Moonwatcher. Okay. This is how anal retentive and inside this movie goes. The level of detail here is crazy in this film. But what he does after coming back from this trip, he's trying to get his friends to go see Star Wars. He's telling them about this movie and nobody believes him. Like, they're just sort of like, his friends are like, whatever, Star Wars, you've been having us, do all these things. And he sacrifices everything, he'll sell his bike, just anything to get filmed, to be able to make a movie. He'll do anything. And I made Super 8 movies when I was a kid. I even had this little character called Melting Marvin. I will say that this movie just really touched me personally. And it was executive produced by Gary Kurtz, before he passed away. And this film has been sitting on a shelf. I actually don't know the reasons why this movie's been sitting on a shelf. It's been sitting on a shelf for quite some time. And what's interesting is that Patrick in the movie kind of has these fantasy versions. Like, he has these fantasies of things he sees. So he'll kind of zone out, and like, he's driving and he's pretending he's in an X-Wing. It's all the things that, frankly, I did. I remember zoning out in school, just thinking about Star Trek or Planet of the Apes or whatever. This character and these fantasies, they're portrayed in really fun ways. Normally just like, okay, a car driving to a place, he'll use a toy car. So the movie has kind of like a handmade feel to it. So there are aspects of it that feel big budget. Then there are aspects of it where just like, no, it's more interesting to show it like sort of in Patrick's mind's eye. He sees the world slightly differently. He sees it as the kind of Super 8 movies that he's making as a kid. And Patrick Reed Johnson he's purported or said that he was like the first Star Wars fan, really, because he knew about it before everyone else. Star Wars hit everyone like it was a surprise. Nobody knew it. It was like the movie opened in 10 theaters in the United States on May 25th, 1977. Okay. I didn't even see it on day one. I saw it that weekend. This is what I had to do. I had to convince my mom to take me to the Americana Theater in Southfield and drop me off. Movie's a couple hours, and my mom would pick me up and take me and I saw Star Wars on the Saturday after it opened. And of course, that changed not just me, it changed every kid who saw it. It changed how we talked about the world. It changed the playground. It was a momentous moment. And this movie by Patrick Reed Johnson completely captures that. I cannot rave about this movie enough, but I will say people will criticize it and they're going to say this is too personal. It's incredibly self-indulgent, but I'll say from where I sit, I really related to this film, and I can't recommend it enough. It captured this almost fanciful era of imagination that I had as a kid. Now, what happens with Patrick Reed Johnson, his story is that this movie inspired him to get involved in the film business. And I can't tell you how many people I've met who have also just the act of seeing Star Wars change their lives in terms of what they're interested in and in terms of wanting to be a part of the business. Because it's the first movie that I remember thinking like, well, I want to know like who made this movie. And there's a program, and I have it here somewhere. Wait, I'm going to like, just for a second, I'm going to look for this. That's actually, okay, that photo of me, because I stopped the camera, that is me from the set of the remake of Night of the Living Dead, directed by Tom Savini. I'm going to see if I can find this this thing here. Oh man, you know what? My stuff.
Was it a book or something? Or
it was a book. Okay, so it was a souvenir program guide. I can't find it. I can't find it. I'd have to dig. I don't want to dig, but it was a souvenir program guide that I bought, and in it, it had listed every actor. It had bios of every character. It showed you who did the special effects. It had a bio of George Lucas. I'd never seen a movie where like, oh, I want like who made this? What was the story behind the movie? So it was the first time that not only I saw like the film, I was so blown away by Star Wars, as were a lot of people, but I wanted to know, well, who made it? George Lucas became a household name as much as Star Wars, and it changed everything. So this movie captures that spirit, that sort of innocence of early genre when science fiction movies were few and far between. We were lucky to get a couple of science fiction movies in one year. This was the era of like Logan's Run, 2001: A Space Odyssey coming in re-release, Planet of the Apes, things like that. And genre films were not taken seriously. Now, of course, Star Wars comes out and breaks box office records. It played for an entire year in that theater. Okay. I saw it 7 times over the summer. It was crazy. And then when it came to re-release, but what this movie does is perfectly capture that era and the passion where so many people felt like after it, like, I want to be a part of this industry. And Patrick Reed Johnson's character, basically named the character after himself, perfectly captures it. And there you go. I love this film, but I will say some people are going to have complaints about it. Say it's maybe a little too personal. Maybe it's self-indulgent. I don't care. And because you could apply it to other types of fandom, something that you're passionate about. I believe that all of us, everyone watching this show or whatnot, if you have a passion, you have what I call an epiphany movie. It's a movie that makes you fall in love with movies. It's a movie that changes the way you look at things and takes you on a journey to discover everything about that film, everything else connected to that film, everything that even inspired that film. So think about what your epiphany movie is. I'd like to hear in the chat. What was your epiphany movie? Something you saw, you were probably young and saw a movie that changed your perspective. The first one for me was 2001: A Space Odyssey, and the second would be Star Wars. And then I would also add Logan's Run, and I would include Jenny Aguilar's breasts. So that is where I stand on this. Love the film, and we will be talking to the director on Friday's show. The movie is now it'll be in limited release in theaters, and it is coming to video on demand. So
yeah,
Alan,
I saw the movie as well.
Oh, good. Okay, what are your thoughts on Fire?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. It's when they say I was seen in this movie. Yeah, I was. Even though there's one Asian in the movie, this was like I felt like this was a movie about my childhood growing up as well. I mean, because I'm not too far off. I'm probably 5 years younger than the filmmaker at that time. But definitely the feelings I felt about Star Wars, about movies, about my friends. Star Wars was probably the one thing that I grew up in an all-white neighborhood in school, and Star Wars was the only thing that really brought me together with my fellow students. Something that we could talk about and relate to, and definitely broke me open out of my shell at that time. But I will say, yeah, this is his personal story, and maybe there could have been a little more editing. The movie is long. The movie, I feel like, is maybe a half an hour to 45 minutes too long. He goes down, it is his life. It's as much as it is about Star Wars, it is about his life. And he does go down, it's a coming of age story. And I think this is the definition of coming of age. And there's a lot of stuff that doesn't have to deal with Star Wars, but about a kid who is trying to find his way in life. And there's a lot of that there. And but I also will say that I believe that his time spent in Los Angeles was more fruitful than your time spent in Los Angeles in terms of the people he got to meet and the things he got to do. But yeah, I do love this movie, but I feel like it may be a hard sell for the younger set, the people who aren't our age.
Well, yeah, I do think it did a really good job of kind of capturing that, like I remember, well, I've got a bike. Can I bike to the movie theater? and I would bike to the movie theater. I would bike to the Berkeley Theater, which was in Berkeley, Michigan, near where I grew up in Royal Oak. I would just take my bike, or I would walk to the movies. It was like a whole negotiation, like to have like an older friend who had a car. Okay, when I was like 14, I hung out with the older kids who had cars because it was fun to do things, right?
Yeah, I saw Star Wars. I saw all three of the originals at the same theater, and it was a 2-hour bus ride or an hour-long bike ride, and so I did both basically.
Yeah, no, what I love about it is, and you're right on the running time. Yeah, and maybe that I really don't know, which I'm excited to talk to the director. We will be talking to the director on Friday's show, and I saved him for last so we can go long. Okay. I am dying to find out what happened to this movie. I've been hearing about this movie for, I think, more than 10 years. So what happened? Was it shelved? Did he have to go back and re-edit? Did something happen? I know Gary Kurtz passed away. How was Gary Kurtz pivotal? Because there are scenes from Star Wars in this movie.
Yeah,
right.
And they go beyond fair use. Let's say it that way.
It definitely goes beyond fair use. But what it does is, I'm sure that was a negotiation with Gary Kurtz, but it uses footage from the rough cut of Star Wars. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah, it's from the rough cut of Star Wars, the black and white, what they would call the answer print, right? The rough cut. So
and John Williams' score appears quite a bit in this movie as well.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I mean, look, I personally plan to buy this film, on VOD or the Blu-ray. If the Blu-ray's got extras, I always go for the extras. Got to get it. But I feel like it does a great job of covering that era. Maybe it could have been like a limited series, like 3-part. Could have been like on Netflix as like a 3-part series, because you're right. It's about 30 minutes too long, but it was fine. That didn't bother me that much. I just because I just got caught up in his story and the world, and even like capturing like the way kids looked back then, with just sort of very, he just captured that era, that sort of mid 70s kind of look. And also
I wonder though how much that will play with millennials and Gen Z.
It won't. It probably won't. It probably won't at all.
Yeah, I think that's my point.
Yeah, well, point taken. I agree with you, Alan. Like, that makes a lot of sense. But let's go. What do people in the chat have to say about 525? The thing is this, okay, truthfully, this is the best Star Wars thing out there right now. It's the best Star Wars thing, okay? It's because it really explains kind of why we're even having this conversation right now. So let's go to the chat. And here we go. Wouldn't it be great if Disney eats S so bad that they had to sell Marvel back to Universal, says Patrick Lemire. Blah blah says, I think Black Panther 2 is going to flop, so get ready to be called racist again, kids. Yep. Yeah. That's probably going to happen. Yeah. Brock Samsonite says, sounds like Fanboys mixed with Almost Famous. It's a little bit like that, but more about like his family and his friends, and then his filmmaking. It's the story of a filmmaker, which normally, whenever I would go to a film festival and I'd meet some filmmaker and I ask like, well, what's your movie about? They'd say, well, my movie's about a filmmaker. And I'm like, please don't do that. Don't do like a self-insert. I mean, this is the ultimate self-insert, because he basically told the story of him getting involved in the entertainment industry. So there you go. Yeah.
And also he loses his virginity in this movie. So.
Hey, spoiler. Also, people calling out my dumb G-Bone name, which I'm totally, feel free to make fun of it.
His trip to LA though, I think is that connection with Almost Famous.
Right. RMFX says, but most of Star Wars other than VFX was shot in the UK, but the special effects were shot here. I think people know that. So he gets to see them making the special effects. He basically gets to visit ILM. I don't want to say too much. Where can we see the movie? Says Pirate Queen. Wait, aren't you driving, Pirate Queen? Should you be pulling over? Do not text and drive. Hopefully you reached your destination safe. You can see it on video on demand. I'm gonna guess it's available for pre-order I don't know. Ask
Yeah,
Patrick.
I'll check.
But yeah, Patrick is going to be on the show on Friday. Commandant VHS. So this is like J.J. Abrams Super 8. I mean, maybe elements of that. Maybe elements. VDR says Chris wept in the theater while watching 5/22/77.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Luffy is God. Self-indulgent equals boring. I'll skip it. But okay, self-indulgent, but for something that I think we are interested in. What I'm trying to say is I feel his experience is more universal because everybody has a story about how they saw Star Wars for the first time.
I will tell you, Armageddon Time is self-indulgent.
Yes,
and it's the same thing. It's the director telling his life story, and showing how how he overcame his internal racism and white guilt.
Patrick Lemire says, I bet getting clearance was not easy. Lucasfilm and Disney are notoriously difficult. Well, guess what? We'll ask him on Friday. Get ready with your questions. So perhaps, not like I'm giving you homework, if you have an opportunity to see the film before Friday, or at least check out the trailer for this movie, then you can be prepared with some questions. Scott McKenzie is a new member. Thank you for that, Scott. Luffy is God, and then they become part of the industry and cut to today, and it's all woke crap. Thanks, Star Wars. But I think that this is before all that happened, right? Before all that happened.
Yeah, this was a time when filmmakers just wanted to make movies and tell good stories. And
precisely. CD Stein 69 says, hid in the bathroom to sneak into the second showing of Star Wars the weekend it came out. Definitely going to see this. Sounds like I'll have a connection to it as well. So what I'm saying is his story of how he saw Star Wars is very personal, but I'm saying it's relatable if you're a uber nerd. And also, I used to make Super 8 movies when I was a kid. I made monster movies. I made like clay animated films. I had this character called Melting Marvin. Maybe I'll dig out some of those videos and I'll just show you like pieces of movies I made when I was a kid. Just, I don't know, just for fun. Because I did get them all digitized so I could show you some of those. Graham Wilson for 10 says, I have been waiting for this movie for so long, but I have not been able to figure out when or where to see it, says Graham Wilson. It is coming to VOD. Alan, did you find it?
I'm looking if it's coming to theaters and I'm not seeing it.
It said on the press release we got that it is, okay, so here it is, Land's release date. I'm reading it. It says it hits theaters September 23rd and VOD digital October 11th. So I guess it's already out.
Or it's been out.
Okay, did it do a small theatrical? You know what? This may be an old press release. Yes, it is. Because they changed the release date. They changed the release date for it to November. So I think it is coming. I got to search here.
Yeah, because I think that was the last email that I got as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
here we go. October 27th. Here's a more recent one.
What's it say?
It says Blu-ray and DVD.
Look, you're going to be able to see it. You'll be able to see it one way or another.
Yeah, I don't think it's in theaters.
The Green Skull says, is there a white guy with a goatee and glass in it? No, I am not being seen. This movie isn't for me and I'm not represented. Alan from Film Threat. Did you really say that?
No, it's all, to me, being seen is about experience. It's about your life journey being represented on screen and not the color of the skin of the people who are acting on stage, on screen.
I have said that for years. It is incredibly frustrating that people only feel they can relate or connect if they look like a character that's on screen. And that is a stupid way of thinking. I have seen films where I've related to characters that aren't my same ethnicity. I've related to film just because I'm on the journey with that character, not my same gender. Characters, like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. How many of us related to Dorothy? I just want to go home, right? Like, I want someone to grant my wish.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. I just think that the fact that idea has been cemented as a thing, like it basically invalidates a movie if a character doesn't look like you. We're going to get to the point, Alan. We're going to get to the point where they're not going to remake Star Wars, but what they're going to do is they're going to program Star Wars. Stay with me on this.
Yeah.
This could happen where you put on Star Wars and you choose the ethnicity of and gender of each of the characters before you start watching the movie. So you're going to see a completely, I literally think we're going to get to that point of just like, they're going to make entertainment. It'll all be digital. It'll all be like rendered out. It's kind of like, when you design a character for a video game and you choose, like, I always like to play as a female when I play a video game. Played Cyberpunk 2077. I played as a corpo and I was a female character. Why? Because I want to see a female on screen just because that's what I want to see. So there you go.
It reminds me of the recent article with Rachel Ziegler talking about the problems of Snow White, the role that she's going to be playing, and how the story didn't capture this and didn't capture that. Until you realize that Snow White, the original, was the first animated feature ever made in the world. And that she completely lost on her was significance of that movie when it came out at that time. And all she's caring about is the story and nothing about the tradition and nothing about what that movie meant to film goers and the Walt Disney Company for that matter. Or Walt Disney for that matter.
Yeah. Buford T. Justice for $9.99 says, Wakanda Forever will be Alan's movie of the year. Well, how much are they paying you to give it a good review, Alan?
Well, usually the worse it is, the higher the amount, so.
Well, I can't wait. We're going to see it together.
Yeah.
Should we do an emergency live stream? Like, oh wait, I don't know. Did they say that? Do we have
no. Social reactions are already open now.
Okay.
An official review is embargoed until the next day.
Do we care about that? Nah.
We could do a quick video.
By the time we even could start, it would be too late on Monday.
No, I'm just saying if we did it right as we're walking out of the theater.
We'll save it for Wednesday. Save it for next week. So Andrew Eterno is a member. Thank you for that. I am a white Hispanic. Dad's brown, mom's white. I grew up wanting to be Blade.
Yeah.
Bingo. That's the whole point is, do you like, I don't know, like I related to a lot of characters that didn't look like me at all. A lot of times you relate to a character that is not even a human, like an animal.
Yeah, I related to a lot of characters because none of them looked like me.
Right.
They all look like you.
John Orchard for 5. Snow White, I'm offended. How about just snow? Lol. Yeah, exactly. Or like in that Long Beach Griffey, they changed the race of Snow White and they call her Black Ice. I'm not joking. Look up Long Beach Griffey. Look up Long Beach Griffey Little Mermaid. Watch that video. He's a comedian who does stuff on YouTube. He's hilarious. CD Stein 69. I remember when the spoof movie Hardware Wars came out shortly after the original. Yeah. A 16 millimeter short film. It came out within a year of Star Wars. And it was it's pretty funny.
Well, we had Showtime pay, back in 78, and they would show Hardware Wars all the time between films.
Toxic Waltz N8 says, why does nearly every movie feel 15 minutes too long nowadays? True. They don't earn it. I got roasted on Twitter for basically suggesting movies are too long. And if it's a comedy, it should be 90 minutes. If it's a drama, 2 hours. And you really need to earn any running time that's north of 2 hours. And I got roasted. Like, how dare you tell artists what to do? And it's like, well, you have to earn it. I'm not saying you shouldn't make movies over 2 hours. Just it has to be earned. That used to be the rule with Spielberg and Lucas, that they would keep their movies 2 hours. They just keep it tight 2 hours.
Well, it also shows the arrogance of new filmmakers who can't accept criticism or an idea that maybe they need to cut their film down, that maybe the words and their art is not so lofty that it deserves 2 hours.
Well, here it goes on to say, rewatching some older flicks, I'd say quite a few seem to be missing a scene or two. I mean, that's why you have deleted scenes, right? Like, it's just tight. It also takes you on that journey. And I think that 2 hours is the right running time.
Also,
Solomon,
theaters get more screenings in when they're
well, that's true.
an hour and a half.
Solomon Thornton says Star Wars was for all races, and that is why the first film so universally loved.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a universal story that went all over the world,
Mhm.
popular all over the world, and now the world doesn't really want our films all that much now. I wonder why that is. I wonder why our films made in the United States don't resonate as well as they used to. Buford T. Justice for another $9.99. Thank you for that. How much of the bad writing, bad productions, and terrible casting have to do with Hollywood unions? I think it has a lot to do with that. I think there's a lot of politics to casting these days. And
Well, there's also
writing
what
is-
the diversity, inclusion, equity waivers, and
John Orchard for 5, who's a member, says, I grew up watching Fat Albert. I learned a lot about things, never considered the color of characters or me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I loved the Fat Albert show. You'd have like Bill Cosby. This is pre-Bill Cosby, whatever. But like for him to give advice, sort of like they were morality tales. But I loved all those characters. They were all funny. They just had like goofy attributes. I don't know. I love that. One of I mean, look, I watched a lot of weird stuff as a kid. Ultraman, never thought, but I loved Ultraman. Johnny Sacco and his giant robot, loved it. Love Ultraman so much. Here, check this out. There you go. There. Here, it's just got this. It's a Mego old style Ultraman fig. There you go. How's that for you?
sweet.
Okay. All right. Cool. But yeah, no, I didn't think about that stuff. There was also a show. Do you remember a show called What's Happening?
Oh yeah, rerun.
And Raj. I related to Raj because he was always sort of caught in the middle, some sort of moral dilemma, whatever. But he also wore glasses, and I wore glasses as a kid when I was young. Had glasses. I was kind of the nerd. Raj was kind of the nerd. But it was a show. It was all black cast. I mean, I think there'd be white people there every once in a while, but like, I just love that show. I related to a lot of the, he was hardworking and he was a kid just trying to like, do the right thing. I love that show. What's Happening?
I would recommend the Doobie Brothers episode.
There's a Doobie Brothers episode. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
It's about bootlegging.
But that's when we didn't talk about race almost incessantly.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about it so much now. It's funny. It's like racism is back, but it's just rebranded. It's rebranded as doing the right thing. It's bizarre, but yeah, VDR.
It's funny, my international friends, they tell me you guys talk about race way too much.
Yeah, exactly. VDR says, I want to bond with, I want to bond with Alan over a game of Mahjong.
Yeah, my kid and I were actually talking about getting a Mahjong set.
Really?
And learning. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, I was certainly exposed to it. I don't know how to play it, but
it's been around. You can learn. All Twisted Up. Star Wars had such a big impact on me that ultimately led me to a career in animation. Leia popping the plans into R2-D2 scene alone gave birth to my love of color and lighting in film. That scene is so, when you look at the cinematography of the original Star Wars, it's so heads and tails above like a lot of the shows. It just seems, I don't know. I felt like the J.J. Abrams Star Wars just felt like something TV. It felt very lazy to me. It didn't feel cinematic or epic in any way.
It almost feels too easy to make movies nowadays compared to what George Lucas went through making Star Wars.
Right. No, I hear you. But look, well, we're going to talk. I would like if you have the opportunity. Is it available? You know what I want to do? I want to look at the Just Watch app. I use this app called Just Watch. And I'm going to look at it. And here we go. I just put in the letter J and it's in there. I'm going to look it up right now. I want to end this discussion of when the movie's coming out.
I think I tried and I couldn't find it on there.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, give it a try. Maybe you'll.
It is like a weird title. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it on Just Watch. Well, look, we will talk to Patrick on Friday. We will find out how people can see the movie. I'm probably just gonna go to like my Vudu account and look for it. I have the Ultraman Complete series on DVD, says John Orchard, for $5. Well, thank you for that. That's great. Like I was at Monster Palooza and I met the actor who played Ultraman in the suit. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I feel bad. I wasn't able to see Shin Ultraman.
Oh, you didn't?
I know. My screener ran out, expired.
Oh, okay. So I think I have. Let me see here. Did I? Okay. You know what? I was at Monster Palooza and I met the actor who played Ultraman in the original '60s show. I have a signed picture. I can't find it, but I did find Gargantua, the Green Gargantua, which was played by the actor who also played Godzilla, who passed away in the last couple years.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is it's on Blu-ray and DVD. I don't know that it is streaming, but you can purchase it on Amazon.
Oh, good.
And it will be. Let's see. Oh no, it's coming to Prime Video on November 22nd.
Okay, cool. So we're a little early in our review, but
so you can buy the DVD and the Blu-ray, and then it'll come to streaming later on in the month.
Cool. So before the end of the month, it'll be on streaming. Yeah. All right. One last super chat here before we switch gears. Sean Z Comic Construct for $4.99, who's also a member. Alan, do you think the Batman 2 is going to be made with Ben coming back? And if so, speaking of long movies, what does it need to improve on? Film threat for life. Everyone's doing film threat for life now. That's pretty hilarious. Alan, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I kind of want to see the continuation of the Matt Reeves, the Batman. I don't necessarily need to see Ben Affleck come back. Maybe in a different universe, maybe. But yeah, like I said, I think I'm more interested to see what Matt Reeves has under the hood there.
All right.
I mean, I will say in terms of length, the Batman, that third act, that final act, could have been cut and ended a different way.
Precisely. So let's switch gears. Here we have the director of an indie comedy. Brandon Dermer is here to talk to us about I'm Totally Fine. It's the story of I need to switch our graphic.
Yeah.
Why did I not? I got to stay on top of this stuff.
There you go.
Something like there we go. There we go. I'm Totally Fine is about two friends, and it begins as they're going to celebrate their business together, and one of the friends passes away, but the party must go on. That friend then shows up in the form of, it's almost like that. It's not like this, but it's similar to the John Carpenter movie with Jeff Bridges.
Starman.
It's similar to that, where she is she's manifested, an alien is kind of manifested in the form of her best friend. And the actresses, if you've heard of Jillian Bell, great comedic actress, Natalie Morales is in it. She's the friend who passes away. And I'm just going to give you a tease of the story. And it's about resolving aspects of their relationship. It's also about loss. It's also very funny because she plans a big party and she can't stop. The party planners just show up and start setting up all the party stuff for this big party that we're going to have. But she tragically passed away. It is an indie sci-fi comedy from director Brandon Dermer, who is joining us on the show today. Brandon, hey man, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. How did you? Well, first of all, I love indie sci-fi. I like taking a very simple concept. I mean, it may have been inspired a little bit by Starman. This is not Starman. Maybe inspired by a little bit, but it's definitely not that film. Where'd you get the idea for this? How did you pull it together with Jillian and Natalie? And clearly you had a good time making this film.
Yeah, so it started in the midst of 2020, my own personal struggles with the uncertainty of the world. I don't deal with uncertainty in general very well. It spikes my anxiety, and 2020 was uncertainty cranked to 11. And talking to my incredible therapist, I started to realize that the moment I stopped trying to control everything and realized I can't control the world or the situation that was going on to everyone, I was able to be present and slightly happier. And when I wanted to figure out a way to explore that emotion, I thought, what better way than with a alien? And I was inspired by films like Starman and other great genre films from the 80s and 90s. And I thought, this is a really interesting way to to talk about and explore the idea of loss and trying to control loss, which we can't do. And at that point, I went to my friend Alicia Kitri, who's a brilliant writer. She's a writer on American Dad. I met her back in film school in Chicago, waiting tables together, and we started to crack this idea together. And then I just so happened to see that my friend Kyle Newacek, a fabulous director, mentor figure, posted that he just did a commercial over Zoom in the pandemic. And I was about to do my first pandemic commercial. So I reached out looking for some guidance, and he asked what I was working on. And I brought up this concept dealing with loss of control through this supernatural, absurdist sort of idea. And he said, I want to make that. And he said, who do you have in mind? And I said, Jillian Bell. Alicia and I have thought Jillian Bell since day one. He said, let me give her a call. And then Jillian was on board. And then she said, I want to work with Natalie Morales. We said, oh my God, that'd be incredible. And she said, let me give her a call. And then she called Natalie. And this whole thing came together, over the phone and over Zoom. It started in July of 2020. And then we were shooting in December of 2020 in the height of the pandemic, which was a challenge.
Well, I think then also we didn't really know what all the rules were. And it's funny when the whole world becomes very acutely aware of their own mortality, when all of us at once are like, hey, we could all die. Like that definitely, I think, amped up a lot of anxiety. I think that also social media has contributed to that. I notice you're not on Twitter at all.
I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I got rid of Twitter actually at the beginning of the year just for my own, it's a self-care moment going on in my life right now. I turned 30, I turned 36. I got engaged. I got the movie. And again, this movie was inspired, honestly, through my therapist. I gave her a special thanks. I don't know if that's ethical or not, but because she really helped me sort of figure out how to grapple with this stuff. And I don't know, Twitter became such a bummer. And now it's, a huge bummer. But even at the beginning of the year, I just found every time I got on there, I got sort of bummed out. So that's why I got off Twitter. I still like Instagram. It's photos. They make me happy. I get to see video. But yeah, I got off Twitter.
Well,
do you guys ever consider getting off Twitter?
I'm on Twitter for work and to doom scroll every once in a while. Of doom scroll.
The interesting thing for me, I was on there for work and I was never getting the same traction as I would Instagram. Maybe because the visual thing, I put a 30-second clip. Someone sees it, they reach out. I retweet an article and I had like 3,000 followers and nobody cared. But I hope it comes back around.
Well, I try to control the number of people I follow. I think that helps.
That's smart.
But let's go to first of all, congratulations on the film. It is out now on video on demand. Is that correct?
This Friday. Out on video demand, and then in select theaters in certain cities.
Oh, that's fantastic. Great. We have questions from our chat. There's like 350 people watching us live on YouTube. Let's go to Sean Z Comic Construct says, Brandon, your cast is solid. Who really impressed you with their approach to your story?
I mean, Jillian has, as we all have, we wanted to make the story about loss because it's universal. And we wanted people to be able to see themselves and their own anxiety and stresses through this film, whether it's the loss of a person, the loss of a marriage, the loss of a dog, the loss of anything, any sort of control. And Jillian brought her own personal experiences of loss and grievances and really fully put it out there in this film. And then Natalie's interpretation of the alien is just phenomenal. What I tasked her with and she performed beautifully was, the alien could just be a gimmick, and it could be one note, and it could be a device for the whole movie. But I really wanted you to follow her arc as well. And I thought if the audience could feel for the alien as much as they do Jillian, they could feel for her experience through this story. I feel like we'd really win, and she did a phenomenal job.
What was it like creating the alien character with Natalie? How were the choices made and discussed about?
So first it started in the scripting with Alicia and then Kyle Newacek, the producer. When we were shaping this whole story, we really talked about how much we wanted to answer as far as the alien life form in the mythology and how much we didn't. But we talked all of it, and then we put the pieces in there that we wanted to, but we shared that all with Natalie. And then it was Natalie and I getting on Zoom and sort of talking at one another as an alien. And thinking about the approach of, it's almost like you're a newborn baby, but in an adult body. You're experiencing humans and reactions and emotions for the first time, and you're reacting in real time. So we did a lot of that. And then by nature of the movie, we started this in July of 2020 and shooting in December. So we didn't have crazy amount of time to do rewrites and multiple passes. So every day on set, we would learn new things based on the way that Jillian and Natalie would interact with one another. And every night and every morning, myself, Alicia, Jillian, Natalie, and Kyle, we'd throw up the script on a TV. We'd all be in, we just come back from our disgusting COVID spit test, and then mask, face shield. It looked like something out of ET, and we'd be looking at a shared TV and just punch up the script based on what we learned in real time, watching this alien sort of learn off of Jillian's performance.
We got some more comments and questions here. Craig S says, just watch the trailer. I've got to see this. I actually laughed. So rare these days.
Thank you, Craig.
Dempsey asks, do you have a favorite axe?
Oh, because my guitars. I'm by the way, my background, it's a Peloton of guitars. It's so ridiculous. That Fender was like $150 little Fender. I'm like a failed musician turned director. I played in screamo bands in the 2000s in high school and college, and made better music videos than the music we were making. So I think my favorite axe is probably that cheap little Fender, but I have it through this Line 6 amp that comes with like all these sort of preset, like I always play the Cowboys from Hell preset distortion, and it just makes anything you do sound fantastic.
So the question is, which one do you play while you're on your Peloton?
Oh my God, probably the acoustic, as I'm just sadly, strumming along, trying to distract myself.
Greasy Vop asks, is it more sci-fi or more comedy?
I think it's more dramedy. It's really this tightrope act of you're laughing and you're in sci-fi, then you're really thinking and introspective and just sort of weaving through all of that. You'll laugh, you'll cry,
I mean, the science fiction is kind of the way to explore the relationship between the two friends. That's sort of the conduit and the setup. So, but this is why I love like indie sci-fi, because it more explores the realm of ideas rather than spectacle. So
absolutely. Yes, that was the whole thing of the movie. We wanted to get clever of like, she, Natalie's character, this alien, not only does she get to visually look like her, she has all of her memories. And Jillian's character, who's trying to control the situation, being like, I'm just having a mental breakdown. You're a figment of my imagination. She's trying to poke holes in it. But slowly she starts to learn these truths from Natalie's past lives that were never shared between their friendship. Things that she thought went one way, she actually starts to find out through these memories, and then fact checking through family and friends that maybe I'm not hallucinating this, and maybe this knowledge of this memory that they attained, maybe the past wasn't what I thought it was.
What I like is that it's not your traditional, hey, I'm talking to my friend's ghost, but I'm talking to the embodiment of my friend who is clearly not my friend, but knows everything about my friend.
Yes, exactly.
Solomon Thornton asks, Brandon, how did you budget this film? Can't wait to see it. It must have been challenging during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, so I brought on Jonas Dolkart, who is a producer I've worked with in music videos and commercials for years. And my music videos have always been short films dressed as music videos. And music video budgets are small, and they're often tasked with making them in a day. So we were sort of greased up and cut our teeth, doing that. And we were ready to approach this. And we also worked backwards. Another thing that inspired this was I had a different movie going into 2020, this big action comedy at a studio, and the pandemic killed it. And I thought, I have to actually get something made. So I'm going to work backwards. And I looked towards the film, The One I Love. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, another great sci-fi indie starring Mark Duplass and Elizabeth Moss. They're both stuck in a house. They find out. Yep. So
Yeah,
I looked at films like that for inspiration of how can I tell a high concept story but low budget and contained. And then it was right. It was just right place and right time of emotions flying at me, and then Jonas, great budgeting. We did this with a very small crew.
Well, you mentioned Mark Duplass. I'm a big fan of the Duplass brothers and the films that they do, from The Puffy Chair to, I'm sure you've seen the Creep films.
Mm-hmm.
Creep is great, and it's literally just like the cast is like two people. It's so awesome. It should inspire you. Retro Nerd Girl says, this sounds so clever. I can't wait to see this.
Thank you.
Retro Nerd Girl, love her. Spidey Sensei 72 says, just watch the trailer. This looks pretty good. Definitely has that Starman vibe. Brock Samsonite asks, is it dark humor?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a very sweet film, but there is dark humor because we are exploring death. We are exploring the very harsh reality of death.
Well, Greasy Vop asks, Brandon, did you use inspiration from any real life alien encounters?
Only just the drives I've done, to Vegas a few times when you're out there and you're looking out at and the sunset's coming and you're like looking for things in the sky.
Let's see. Dempsey asks, can we find any of your music anywhere? Let's get him to be a successful musician too. Indie support is love.
Oh man, I don't know. I should put on the internet. My band in high school was called Cellar Door, named after Donnie Darko, which is just perfect high school band name. I actually met Richard Kelly at a rap party for one of my music videos early on. He was friends with one of the actors, and I told him that. And then my band in college was called Football Weather. I don't know if any of that music. I definitely have it on like an old iPod somewhere.
All Twisted Up says, I saw the trailer for this a while ago and was anxious to see it, but forgot the name. Thank you for this reminder. And CD Stein 69 asks, what well-known IP would you want to tackle if given the chance?
Oh man, Last Action Hero. I love that movie so much.
Wow. That's one that you could definitely update for sure.
Right. And I feel like you can use it like in a way where like 21 Jump Street didn't just like redo it. They reinvented it and used the best parts and flipped it on its head. That's a film I would love to explore.
Cool. And final question here from Sean Z. Comic Construct says, Brandon, you mentioned the anxiety factor, and I relate to that. What are you trying to get the audience to see and take away from your film, bro? I don't know. We have a very familiar, our audience is very familiar with.
You're already a bro too.
Yeah, you're already a bro.
I mean, that makes me feel nice. I feel welcomed. I just want people to take away the thing I try to remind myself every day, that is just everything's going to be okay. You can't control everything. And the sooner you stop trying to control every outcome, the easier things get. I got to practice what I preach in this movie.
Well, I will say, like, I think it's, definitely there are dark comedy aspects to it, but I want to warn everybody, you got me at the end. Got me at the end. It doesn't shy away from emotion. Let's just say.
May I ask you, did their relationship get you, or did Jillian, or did Natalie's character?
No, it was their relationship and the idea of losing a friend and the ridiculousness of, this is in the beginning of the movie. I actually don't want to give away anything at the end, but like when she's distraught and then they're showing up with all the party stuff and she can't cancel the party. Like it's completely ridiculous.
Because there's a law. That's
yeah,
like
legally, we just got Giphies made for the movie, and that's one of them. And I'm like, I really hope people start using this when it's like, hey, let's go out tonight. Like, I don't want to, and I hope people start sending like, I legally have to have a party.
A couple more quick questions, if you don't mind, because
absolutely
people want to ask. Blah blah says he would totally make a great Last Action Hero movie. The Common Nerd says, Brandon, Molly is an interesting choice. Personal experience. Well, nice trailer. Looks great, man.
Awesome.
That's
never done Molly.
Right.
I've never done Molly.
And Dempsey says, I got to practice what I preach in this movie. That is one of the best things I have heard all day. It's definitely, it's definitely, it's definitely life affirming. I just want to say that. I don't want to give up too much, but it does make a lot of sense that this kind of came from anxiety, and that like when we all, I mean, God, just thinking back to the beginning of all the, pandemic stuff, when we're seeing like numbers, when they were doing the running numbers, like how does that not drive everyone just, just, you could drive anyone into a spiral with something like that. It was just,
and just the control. You're like, okay, I'm going to wash my groceries because that is what I'm committing
Right.
to. Then they're like, you don't actually have to wash your groceries. Like, oh fuck, okay, so I'm not going to do that anymore. Like you
Right.
create all these rules in your head to make it. You're taking in information. You try to figure out what's right, but really, we're all just figuring it out in real time.
Yeah, bizarre. Brandon, congratulations. Brandon Dermer, congratulations on the film. I'm Totally Fine. It will be out Friday on video on demand, also in limited release in theaters. If you have an opportunity, go see it in a theater. Brandon, thanks for joining us on the Film Threat Livecast. This is great.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Cool. All right. And come back when you make your next movie. Don't forget us.
Yes, please. Chris, I've been a fan for a long, long time. You've supported music videos of mine throughout the years.
Oh, really?
Whether you know it or not. So yeah, I've been a fan for a long time. You were a big send up for my Necrogoblicon video in 2012.
Nate D says, ask him about Necrogoblicon.
Yeah. Yeah, you were one of the early I don't know if you even remember, supporters of that video. And that video, I could trace back to that music video. That's how I met Blake Anderson and then Kyle. So I'm love you guys. Thank you.
Dude, that's awesome. We'll come back, even if you're doing a big studio thing. We had Greg Matola on the show. We had Neil LaBute. We've had like directors that are doing bigger studio things. They'll come on and talk to us. So we appreciate you coming by to tell us the film is out. So check it out. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a great rest of your afternoon.
Yeah, thank you.
You too. Later, guys.
Later. Thanks. That was great.
Necrogobblercon. What the hell is that?
Necrogobblecon. We got some more chat questions.
What is that?
Look it up. Necrogobblecon. Look it up and you'll see.
You just tell me. I mean, really.
All right. Well, let's do a reset here really quick as we wrap up today's show. It's always fun to hang out with Alan on the afternoon and just chill and whatnot. Let's go to the
Can't spell it. That's the problem. Oh, here we go.
Necrogobblecon. It doesn't come up in Google.
No, it does, but you got to get at least part of the word right before.
DDR. I loved the Matt Reeves Batman when I saw it initially in the theater. The more it sets with me, the less and less I care for it. I feel the same way when I first saw it. I was like, well, that third act is a little messy. Is it really necessary? But now I don't know. That movie doesn't, the Batman, Robert Pattinson, I think did a great job. Mm-hmm. I like the world. This movie has not stayed with me the same way.
Yeah. It doesn't inspire you to want to continue on with it. I think that's the biggest problem.
Yeah. So the movie hasn't stayed with me the same way that the Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy has stayed with me. Necrogobblecon is a great band with the best music videos ever, says Nate D. Awesome. John Maywald says, I have Batman fatigue. So Solomon Thornton says, thanks again, Chris and Alan. Learn something new about filmmaking every time I listen to you guys. Live long and prosper. Thank you for that, Solomon. Like, look, I want to bring on filmmakers to talk to you because you could, look, anyone here in our audience could make a movie. You think it's out of your reach. I know, look, there's a lot of armchair quarterbacks, right? Say, look, I could be a better quarterback than Tom Brady. You probably can't. Okay. I'm not gonna look, I'm not good at any sport, but I'm telling you, whether you're covering or you're just a fan, that's how everybody started was as a fan of films, passionate about films. Anyone in this audience can go and make their own movie. And the thing is this, look, we talk about some revolution happening in independent and independent creators and artists. It's already happening. We're telling you about these movies now and today. Don't look, if it's a choice, you've got to have a balanced media diet. Fine. Go see the new Black Panther, whatever, Marvel, Star Wars, whatever. But if you're not balancing it out by seeing indie stuff, and I mean truly indie stuff, okay, small indie movies. If you're not balancing it, you're gonna have some issues. But yeah, that's awesome. Craig S says, saw the Batman, but instantly forgot it when I stepped out of the theater. Comic Construct says, Alan, what do you recommend to watch for $1.99?
Yeah, I'm pulling one up right now. So if you give me a moment, I can get it.
What, like a movie?
Yeah, movie. Yeah. So that's what we're being asked, right? That's
yes. What do you recommend to watch? Well, you should read Film Threat, right? Like, here, what are we? Although, here's the thing. Here's the one weird thing about Film Threat. We will review anything, and this is on our front page right now. Magnum Opus, the movie. I will say this: work on your stills. That looks. I don't know.
Well, no, that's indicative of the movie. It's basically a bunch of kids who were inspired by Jackass to Jackass stunts, and that's what the movie is. It's the magnum opus of what the filmmaker did as a teen and as a child.
Oh, this looks like it could be weird and fun.
It is very weird.
It got a 7.5.
Yeah, clearly they didn't follow the "don't do this at home."
I love that. I love that. All right.
Okay,
what do you recommend, Alan?
Okay,
Chauncey wants to know.
Okay, I need a moment. But
wait a second. Patrick Lemire says, "I can't be a better quarterback than Jan Brady." Oh my nose! Oh my nose!
By the way, Weird is coming out on Friday.
Dude! I downloaded the Roku channel just to watch it.
Yeah,
I am watching it on. I don't know that I'll get to watch it in time for the show because we go live at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, I would love to talk about it on Friday, but there's so much spoilers in it that I think we have to put it off.
I'll watch it over the weekend. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Solomon Thornton says Alan has balls of steel, which is so there you go. All right. Well, we're wrapping things up. Alan, where's your recommendation?
I know. I'm pulling it up. I reviewed this 3 weeks ago and it's buried.
Oh, okay. Well, use the search. We have a search on our website.
Oh, here it is.
Sean Z, Comic Construct says, we should do a film contest in the group with the members. Yes, and we should give away a prize package. What could it be? I'll come up with a really good prize, and maybe the task will be just make a 1-minute short film featuring Alan. Should we do that? Wait. Oh, what is this?
This is a movie called Hinterland. It's a creepy thriller, serial killer thriller that takes place just after World War I. If you look at the buildings, you can see kind of the art style of this movie.
Wow.
But this guy is returning home from World War I. He used to be a cop. Now he's distrusted by the people in the town. There's a serial killer running rampant through the city, and they think it's him, this guy, and he has to prove his innocence. And the art style is one of the things that makes this movie a whole lot of fun. But it's a very nice and creepy story. So Hinterland. Yeah, it is subtitled. So
well, there you go. Sean, you got that recommendation, and Sean, I think, also sent you an email to be on his podcast.
Oops.
Hey!
I know, there goes my email.
Whoa, Alan, what are you doing?
I know. I was invited to the DreamWorks holiday animation party. So
well, there you go, Alan. Every studio's gotta throw Alan a couple of bucks.
I know. So Bad Guys, speaking of DreamWorks, great film, and thanks for the party invite.
All right, okay, cool. All right, and let's I don't know, Alan. What would you like to plug? What thing would you like?
Yeah, filmthread.com. We got lots of reviews, and if you want to.
You didn't think we were going to get through a whole show? Did you think we would get through a whole show without doing that? Come on, Alan.
We keep so close. Gotta get to
All
that
right,
Balls of
fine.
Steel's comment.
All right, look, we like to have fun here. I think Alan and I, we both have a good sense of humor about ourselves, don't we?
I think so.
All right. You asked for it. I know. People in the chat were asking, where is it? Where are the plungers? And we give you what you want. So Jillian N says plungers, plungers, plungers. So, Jillian's a member. We give the people what they want. Alan's corner. What do you mean Alan's corner? The Weird Al story says.
I think this has to be the assignment for all our viewers here. The Weird Al story this weekend.
Yeah, so Weird. It's if you have a Roku box, you get the Roku channel is free, and it's basically free to watch. I assume that they're going to have some commercials.
Yeah, there'll be ads.
There'll be ads, but it is free to watch it. And I love Roku. I know everybody's my Apple TV. No, Roku box is the better way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Get a Roku TV. It's also it's one of the few things that are open source. Alan, before we leave, seriously, tell us, do you got any plugs or anything that's going on?
My nipples look like milk duds.
All right, I know. I feel like the last couple of shows I've gone a little overboard, so I'm trying to like dial it back. Like, look, if we're gonna get, if you're gonna get to see the Allens, it's gotta be an earned thing. We can't overdo it. I've overdone it a bit too much lately. But follow Alan at My Pal Al. There you go.
By the way, we are approaching 56,000 subscribers.
Oh,
we're less than 400 away.
Nice. So there you go. And the last Deanno said it's £5 here. So thank you for that. Thank you for that, Deanno. So appreciate it. We're going to be wrapping things up right here. Thank you so much for watching. We are Film Threat on everything on social media. We are Film Threat. You can let's see, if you're a member, you can join our Discord. If you're a member, we do have a Film Threat Discord. You can continue the conversation there. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you are not subscribed, we appreciate that. And if you like the shirts that Alan and I are wearing, go to shop.filmthreat.com. And me, you know what? I like to give away things for free. I love to give away things for free. So if you would like a free Film Threat bumper sticker, and if you send me a large enough self-addressed stamped envelope, I will also send you a DVD or some other free stuff. Send one to Film Threat, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California, 90036. I will return you in the mail free stuff because I love to give away free stuff. Because when I was a kid, I just loved to get something in the mail, and something for free is even better. Alan, any last things?
Oh, by the way, are you posting a code today or no?
In the members thing, I think. I wonder if
today. That's what I'm saying today.
Today, but it is. It's. I think it's. I set it to. I set it basically. I set it to a time. So, it's already there.
Oh,
it's a code for everything, everywhere, all at once. Digital code. Boom,
actually,
it just posted. It just posted.
It's been claimed. Yeah,
it's been claimed. What can you do? All right. Well,
yeah. No. It's congratulations, Greasy Bob.
Good. Yeah. Thank you so much. Great. Cool. Look, we get stuff. We like to give back to people who support us, and we thank you so much for that. We're going to be back on Friday live. Let's see. On Friday's show, we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about Godzilla and Godzilla movies. We'll talk about Shin Godzilla. We'll talk about Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. We're going to discuss Triangle of Sadness. And we're also going to discuss the indie sci-fi film Next Exit. And we will be talking to director Molly Elfman. Molly is the daughter of Danny Elfman. Maybe you've heard of Danny Elfman. She will be on the show at 10:40 a.m. And at 11 a.m., we have director Patrick Reed Johnson to talk about 5/25/77, a movie I gushed about on today's show. Can't wait to talk to him, get all the answers. We'll probably have some other movies, the movies that we missed today. Hopefully we'll get to those, and want to thank you for your support. Alan, what is the last thing you would like to say? And I promise I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
No.
let's get out of here.
Wait, can you say that
Oh
again?
no, you want me to say something else? Is that
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
let's get out of here.